Chapter 202. How can he be so strong? A wild boar demon beast swallowed its saliva with a gulp sound, and then shouted in horror. One hit. How many did it kill? That whole area is dead. Not even their corpses are left. A hedgehog stuttered. In that blood mist there were more than 30 people of the same realm as us. They were all F***king dead. A leopard shouted in horror. F***ck. How can this be? This doesn't make sense. How can a human be stronger than a demon? A monkey roared angrily. Panic uncontrollably appeared in the hearts of all the beasts. The white tiger killed 100,000 with one hit. It was too domineering and brutal. This had completely exceeded their expectations. The white tiger was very strong. They could feel it. However, they never thought that it would be so freakishly strong. Just as the atmosphere of panic was getting thicker and thicker, a loud shout suddenly sounded. Go! Kill him! This person is a great enemy of the demon race. We can't let him live. The roar came from the golden-furred lion that asked about Yi Chen's identity. It stood up on its hind legs and glared fiercely at Yi Chen. Its eyes were filled with an extremely strong murderous intent. He is Yi Chen, the strongest human. Brothers, let's go. Kill him. Otherwise, the demon race will have a hard time. A loud roar came from the mouth of a crocodile at this moment. Yes. Go. We must kill him. Another roar came. In the next second, one after another, the demonic beasts echoed loudly. Go. Kill him. Kill him. The beasts were roaring and roaring. Their voices were loud and clear, but they could not hide the fear in their voices. They were afraid of Yi Chen's strength. They were afraid of Yi Chen's future. They wanted to kill Yi Chen, for the sake of the demon race and for themselves. They lived in the same area as Yi Chen. If they allowed Yi Chen to develop, they would be on tenterhooks every day. They were worried that Yi Chen would suddenly appear at their doorstep and slaughter them. Roar! Roar! 10,000 beasts roared, and killing intent filled the sky. Rumble! The earth began to tremble from the stampede of the beasts. Countless ferocious beasts charged towards the gigantic white tiger with bloodshot eyes under the command of the demonic beast. Roar! An earth-shattering roar rang out once again. The voice was filled with ruthless, merciless, and ice-cold killing intent. In the next second, the incomparably huge white tiger suddenly leaped and turned into a stream of light, disappearing in a flash. Bang bang bang! A series of explosions were heard once again. The flowing light disappeared and the white tiger appeared. A 5-kilometer-long path of blood mist appeared once again. The ferocious beasts that had just charged stopped in unison. That was because that terrifying attack had appeared once again. Their bodies trembled involuntarily. Fear, nervousness, and terror were the thoughts running through the minds of the ferocious beasts. Damn it, let's go. All of you, attack. Those who don't go will be executed. A large rat suddenly screamed. It was screaming, but its voice was filled with panic, and it was getting stronger and stronger. Squeak, squeak. The rat pack began to charge. Go. Go. Those who don't go will be executed. A hedgehog roared angrily. The hedgehogs also charged. Charge. All of you charge. Otherwise, I'll crush him to death. A gorilla roared loudly. One demonic beast after another began to roar angrily, ordering their subordinates to continue attacking. In their opinion, such a tyrannical and perverted attack could not be sustained forever. They wanted to use the lives of their subordinates to exhaust the number of attacks that the White Tiger battle formation could release. The ferocious beasts that covered the mountains and plains, one clan after another, once again charged towards the gigantic white tiger. Roar! The earth-shaking tiger roar sounded again. In the next second, the white tiger leaped and turned into a stream of light, disappearing in a flash. Bang bang bang! The sound of bodies exploding could be heard. Once, twice, thrice, until the 15th time the white tiger finally stopped. 80% of the demonic beast soldiers that covered the mountains and plains were instantly cleared. As far as the eye could see, there was only a bloody mist floating in the air. The strong smell of blood began to spread, and then spread again, stimulating the nerves of all the demonic beasts that were still alive. There used to be their subordinates, their neighbors, or existences that they did not like. There used to be close to 1,000,000 ferocious beasts and 8,000 to 9,000 demonic beasts there. But now there was only a bloody mist left. It was so thick that it made them feel suffocated. The demonic beasts that wanted to kill Yi Chen all widened their eyes in disbelief. Lion King, why don't we retreat first? A rabbit looked at the golden-furred lion and asked anxiously. I feel that it's better for us to retreat for now. Yi Chen is too much of a monster. Wait until we become a bit stronger, then we'll come and settle the score with him. One of the lynx gulped, then said, Yes, let's retreat first. If this continues, we'll all be killed. A goat hurriedly agreed. I think so too. It's better for us to retreat first. A python hurriedly nodded its head and said. The golden-furred lion stared at the gigantic white tiger, its eyes filled with indignation. It was the Lion King that ruled over an area, the future powerhouse of the demonic beast race. But it felt a fatal threat from Yi Chen. It knew that the most powerful man of the human race, Yi Chen, was in the white tiger's body. It wanted to kill Yi Chen, but Yi Chen's methods were too ferocious and cruel. After a few breaths, the golden-furred lion opened its mouth and was about to give an order. At this moment, the white tiger disappeared. Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion also appeared at this moment. Looking at the empty space that the white tiger battle formation had cleared, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. The God Slayer pointed at the remaining demonic beasts and roared. Die, you bastards! Kill! 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 Deafening battle cries rang out. The Samsara Legion raised their spears and roared at the top of their lungs. There were still many demonic beasts alive here, but the soldiers of the Samsara Legion were fearless, because the person leading them was their invincible and unparalleled lord, Yi Chen. It was Yi Chen who gave them a new life and gave them everything they had now. Even if they were unfortunate enough to die in battle, they would have no regret. The golden-furred Lion King glared at Yi Chen hatefully and then roared angrily. But halfway through his words, he stopped abruptly. That was because Yi Chen was actually leading his subordinates and charging towards them. The golden-furred Lion King was stunned for a moment, then its eyes suddenly widened and it roared angrily. All of you attack! He can't summon the white tiger anymore. Kill him! Don't let him return to the safe zone. Chapter 203. After being stunned for a short while, the demonic beasts instantly boiled over. Ha ha ha, damned human! Your time of death has come. A wild boar stood up, opened its mouth and roared ferociously. Little ones, charge! Kill this damned human! Take revenge! A black bull stared at Yi Chen with its scarlet eyes. 2 streams of air came out of its nose as it roared at Yi Chen. Little ones, charge! Kill these damned humans! Eat their flesh! Drink their blood! Gnaw on their bones! A green wolf bared its fangs at Yi Chen and roared. One by one, the demonic beasts gave the order to attack. In their opinion, Yi Chen, who could not use the white tiger battle formation, was like a tiger without claws and fangs. There was nothing to be afraid of. If they did not kill Yi Chen now, their chances in the future would be even slimmer. They did not want to miss this opportunity. Ao, ao, roar! Waves of roars resounded. The remaining 200,000 demonic beasts let out earth-shattering roars in unison. Rumble! The 200,000 demonic beasts once again took a step forward and rushed towards Yi Chen. Yi Chen looked at the army of demonic beasts rushing towards him and smiled coldly. He did not stop and continued to rush towards the golden fur Lion King. The white tiger battle formation could not be used anymore, but Yi Chen did not only have the white tiger battle formation. Charge! Kill Yi Chen! The Golden Fur Lion King was furious when he saw Yi Chen rushing towards him. He opened his mouth and roared. Ha ha ha, charge! Kill him! This is the Xiantian realm. Do you really think you are invincible? Charge! Yi Chen's head is mine. His legs are mine. His little brother is mine. The demonic beasts revealed their ferocious fangs and rushed towards Yi Chen. At the same realm, so what if Yi Chen was the number one human? Even if Yi Chen was very strong, how strong could he be? No matter how strong he was, could he be stronger than more than 1,000 demonic beasts? Definitely not. This was what the demonic beasts were thinking. Therefore, the demonic beast charged towards Yi Chen without fear. As the demonic beasts ran, their bodies began to grow rapidly. His huge body stomped on the ground, causing the ground to tremble with boom, boom sounds. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes as he looked at the thousands of demon beasts charging towards them. He then shouted, Zilong, Zhao Meng, take care of the Samsara Legion. After Yi Chen finished speaking, his feet slammed into the ground. Bang! A loud sound was heard. Yi Chen instantly shot up into the air. Within a breath's time, he was already dozens of meters in the air. Glancing at the group of demonic beasts on the ground, Yi Chen sneered. He pointed his left hand towards the sky and shouted, Thunder! Boom! Crack! The sound of thunder suddenly reverberated through the sky. Zap, zap, zap. Tiny but very dense lightning snakes suddenly appeared and rapidly swam in the sky. They then gathered and turned into lightning pythons. 1, 2, 3, 100, 1,000. The demonic beast's frenzied charge came to an abrupt halt. They looked up at the sky in panic. There were no clouds in the sky for thousands of miles. However, there were thousands of lightning pythons that were as thick as a human male's arm. A stifling and numb feeling instantly appeared in the hearts of all the demonic beasts. Magic! How is this possible? How can Yi Chen use magic? Isn't he a human divine general? A porcupine looked at the lightning pythons in the sky and shouted in horror. Damn it, Yi Chen is definitely not at the Great Heaven state. He's at the mortal evolution state. Why isn't there a world announcement about him reaching the mortal evolution state in the game? A monkey suddenly thought of something and screamed. No wonder this bastard is so fearless. Mortal evolution state? He's actually at the mortal evolution state. A wild boar roared in horror. The Golden Fur Lion King's eyes narrowed as it looked at the lightning pythons scurrying in the sky. In the next second, the Golden Fur Lion King opened its mouth and roared, Run! The lightning pythons in the sky gave it a feeling that was too terrifying. Lightning had the innate ability to destroy evil. To the demonic beasts, they had an innate fear of lightning. Not only the demonic beasts but even humans were the same. Especially those who had killed too many people, they were even more afraid of lightning. At this moment, the thick lightning pythons in the sky kept scurrying, and their power was getting stronger and stronger. Zap, zap, zap. The sound of lightning kept getting louder and louder. Thousands of demonic beasts scurried away after hearing the Golden Fur Lion King's warning. In the air, Yi Chen looked at the thousands of demonic beasts scurrying away and sneered. He pointed at the ground with his left hand. Fall. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thousands of thigh-thick blue lightning pythons fell with a loud rumble, instantly hitting the fleeing demonic beast. Ayo! Ah! Miserable howls rang out one after another. In the distance, the demonic beast army that was charging towards the Samsara Legion stopped at the same time when they saw the blue lightning pythons that pierced through the sky. They didn't dare to move forward. Their legs began to tremble, and their souls began to tremble. The power of lightning was so domineering. How would they dare to move forward? Panic and fear instantly appeared on the 200,000 demonic beasts' army. Zap, zap, zap. Tiny lightning bolts kept circulating on the demonic beasts' bodies, mercilessly destroying their bodies. Black smoke also rose from the demonic beasts' bodies at this moment. At the same time, there was the smell of burnt meat. The lightning strike instantly crippled hundreds of demonic beasts, and the rest were directly killed. Bang! Yi Chen landed heavily on the ground, and smoke and dust gradually filled the sky. Long live the Lord! Long live! Long live! The soldiers of the Samsara Legion came back to their senses one by one, and then they raised the long spears in their hands and shouted loudly. At this moment they were excited and proud, because their lord, Yi Chen, was very powerful. He defeated thousands of demonic beasts with a single strike. He was invincible. Looking at the demonic beasts that were still alive but constantly twitching, Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. He waved the God-Slayer in his right hand, and then he shouted, "Kill them all! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Earth-shattering shouts sounded in an instant. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng immediately led the Samsara Legion and rushed towards the demonic beast army that was scared silly. Bang! Yi Chen stomped on the ground with his right foot and then rushed towards the demonic beast. What Yi Chen wanted to do was very simple. He wanted to kill those demonic beasts that were still alive but unable to move. Yi Chen, let me go. I swear, I will never be your enemy in the future. A gorilla saw Yi Chen rushing over and hurriedly shouted. The gorilla was completely frightened by Yi Chen. It never thought that Yi Chen would be so powerful. He didn't want to die, so he begged for mercy. He wanted to live. Poochie! A sound was heard. The God-Slayer effortlessly stabbed into the gorilla's head. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain, and then he rushed towards the next demonic beast. Chapter 204. Yi Chen. Let me go, I... A big rat shouted in horror when it saw Yi Chen coming to its side. The God-Slayer mercilessly stabbed into the big rat's mouth, and then pierced through its head. Yi Chen, I'll be your follower. Really? Let me go, I'll be your follower. I'll kill whoever you ask me to. A monkey screamed. Yi Chen, pfft. The god-slaying spear reaped the lives of the remaining demonic beasts one after another. No matter how the monsters begged for mercy, Yi Chen did not hesitate at all. Because they were from the Yao clan, and they were the ones who wanted to kill Yi Chen. Yi Chen would only choose one way to deal with them, and that was to kill them without mercy. The surviving monsters were constantly stabbed to death by the God-Slayer. Screams of horror and despair constantly came from the mouths of the monsters. However, no matter how frightened and desperate they were, Yi Chen was not moved at all. One shot after another, simple and violent, took away the lives of the monsters one after another. The monsters that were still alive regretted it so much that their intestines turned green at this moment. After they were attracted by the human blood of the Black Tiger Gang, they did not leave immediately. It was because they saw that there was a city in the game in reality, and then guessed Yi Chen's identity. It was because they guessed it that they did not leave. Their purpose was to confirm whether the owner of Samsara City in reality was Yi Chen or not. As long as it was really Yi Chen's Samsara City, they would try to kill Yi Chen. Because Yi Chen was the most powerful person in the human race. The stronger Yi Chen was, the greater the threat he posed to the monsters. Of course, this was not the most fundamental reason. The most fundamental reason was that these monsters also lived in this area. If Yi Chen became stronger, the danger they faced would be higher and higher. But what they did not expect was that Yi Chen dared to rush out of the safe zone. What was even more unexpected was that Yi Chen's strength was insanely strong. However, it was useless to regret. Yi Chen was constantly reaping their lives. After casually stabbing a toad to death, Yi Chen came to the side of the Golden Lion King, who was previously extremely powerful. When the Lion King saw Yi Chen coming over, he struggled for a while but could not get up. Yi Chen glanced at the Lion King, who was charred black by the thunder python and was still smoking. Then, he raised his god-slaying spear. When Leonis saw this, his eyes narrowed as he hurriedly shouted, "Yi Chen! This is definitely a misunderstanding." Yi Chen smiled coldly and shouted, "Die, you bastard! Yi! I have a treasure. Let me go and I'll give you the treasure. The Lion King shouted anxiously. Yi Chen heard this and narrowed his eyes. He said coldly, Hand it over and I'll give you a quick death. Kill me. The Lion King's eyes were filled with hatred. He roared angrily. You will definitely die, but… Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. After he finished speaking, the Godslayer stabbed out. Pfft! The Godslayer pierced through one of the Lion King's legs. Roar! Lion King let out a mournful howl. You will die very slowly. Yi Chen finished his unfinished sentence. His right hand pulled back the god-killing spear, and he aimed it at Liu King again. Yi Chen, you don't deserve to be a powerhouse. The Lion King opened his mouth and roared fiercely. Hand it over. Yi Chen shouted coldly. Dream on. The Lion King roared hatefully. Pfft! The Godslayer pierced through one of the Lion King's legs again. Are you going to hand it over or not? Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and asked again. Kill me if you have the guts. The Lion King roared ferociously. Very well, you have the guts. Yi Chen smiled coldly. He raised the Godslayer in his right hand and stabbed. Pfft! Pfft! Again and again, the Godslayer pierced through the non-fatal parts of the Lion King's body. Roar! Roar! The Lion King's miserable cries rang out one after another. Godslayer continued to stab and 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 stab, inch after inch. When Yi Chen stabbed all four of the Lion King's legs, the Lion King's face was distorted beyond recognition. Yi Chen raised the Godslayer again and aimed it at the Lion King's fifth limb. When the Lion King saw this, his eyes widened. He shouted hoarsely, Stop stabbing, I'll hand it over. I'll hand it over. Yi Chen looked at the terrified Lion King and curled his lips in disdain. Then, he shouted, Take it out. The Lion King took a deep breath and looked at Yi Chen with hatred. Then, a wooden box flew out from the top of his head. Yi Chen's consciousness stirred. When he saw a stone filled with runes in the wooden box, his eyes widened. Enlightenment stone. It was actually the Enlightenment stone. Without thinking, Yi Chen reached out with his left hand and instantly grabbed the wooden box. Enlightenment stone. Enter Enlightenment mode after use. Lasts for 1 minute. The introduction was simple and the content was vague. However, Yi Chen knew the benefits of the Enlightenment stone too well. Once the Enlightenment stone was used and one entered Enlightenment mode, any difficulties one encountered during cultivation would be resolved immediately. As long as one's cultivation technique did not exceed the divine level, there was a 100% chance of it leveling up. If one had enough Enlightenment stones, they could learn all kinds of spells and skills on their own. If one's strength reached a certain level and used enough Enlightenment stones, controlling the power of laws would not be unattainable. A piece of Enlightenment stone was very rare. However, to Yi Chen, it was a free gift. It would be a waste if he did not take it. Give me a quick death. The Lion King looked at the Enlightenment stone in Yi Chen's hand unwillingly and roared angrily. Clearly, he knew the benefits of the Enlightenment stone. It was a pity that he did not use it. Otherwise, the Enlightenment stone would disappear automatically and Yi Chen would benefit from it. When Yi Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows and stabbed out with the Godslayer. Pa, pa! The sound of 2 eggs shattering could be heard. The Lion King's face, which was waiting for death, suddenly froze. Then, he let out an extremely mournful howl. Ow ow! Yi Chen looked at the Lion King, who was beginning to twitch violently, and curled his lips in disdain. He then opened the wooden box and took out the Enlightenment stone. Looking at the Enlightenment stone, Yi Chen's lips curled up and he used his mind. Ding! Detected special item, Enlightenment stone. Do you want to use it? When the system notification sounded, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. Use. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for using the Enlightenment stone. Enlightenment mode activated. Duration, 1 minute. When the system notification ended, Yi Chen's entire aura changed instantly. Not only did his murderous aura disappear without a trace, It even gave people a very comfortable feeling. Ow! The Lion King was still howling. He was in great pain. The pain went deep into his bones. His body could not help but twitch again and again. On the other hand, Yi Chen's eyes were closed, and he was not disturbed by the sounds of the outside world at all. Chapter 205. 1 minute later, Yi Chen opened his eyes. That mysterious feeling instantly disappeared. Unfortunately, it was only for 1 minute. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for successfully comprehending the Tao using the Enlightenment Stone. His basic spear technique, God level, has advanced to innate. Hearing the system's notification, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and looked at the Lion King, whose howls had become softer. When the Lion King saw that Yi Chen had returned to normal and was looking at him, he immediately roared ferociously, You bastard! You didn't keep your promise. Bastard, if it wasn't for the Enlightenment Stone, you would have died even more miserably. Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain and stabbed the Godslayer with his right hand. Poochie! A sound was heard. The Godslayer instantly pierced through the Lion King's head. Yi Chen pulled back the god-killing spear and looked around. He saw Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guo Jia leading the Cycle Legion and Yanhu in a corridor that was shaped like a circle, chasing ferocious beasts. The ground was littered with the corpses of the beast. Some of them were still kicking, but the range was getting smaller and smaller. Guo Jia's strategist skills were indeed impressive. Changing the terrain and trapping the army of beasts, how could the beasts possibly escape? Thinking of this, Yi Chen's lips curled up and his right foot stomped on the ground. Bang! Yi Chen shot out like lightning and arrived at the return corridor in a few breaths of time. Glancing at the corridor that was deep underground, Yi Chen jumped down and rushed towards the fleeing army of beasts. He swung the God-Slayer mercilessly. Bang bang bang, all the ferocious beasts that were touched by the God-slaying spear were instantly blasted into pieces without exception. Seeing this result, Yi Chen couldn't help but stare blankly. The power of an innate skill was indeed different. The bodies of beasts couldn't be compared to the bodies of humans. Their bodies were very sturdy, but the bodies of monsters were even stronger. And this was the main reason why Yi Chen was so surprised. Not bad, Yi Chen smirked. The Godslayer, which had paused for a moment, was raised again. Bang bang bang! The sound of the beast's body exploding rang out again. 10 minutes later, Yi Chen's spear pierced through the last ferocious beast and stopped. Greetings, my lord! Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, Guo Jia, and the 10,000 Samsara Legion soldiers all got down on one knee and shouted. At this moment, not only was the Samsara Legion excited, but Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guo Jia were also excited. Because under the leadership of Yi Chen, they had killed millions of beasts and tens of thousands of demonic beasts. 10,000 against a million. Their combat strength was completely different. But their lord Yi Chen had led them to slaughter 1,000,000 Fey soldiers. Are there any casualties? Yi Chen looked at his subordinates, who were covered in beast blood, and asked with a smile. My lord, no one from the Samsara Legion was injured or killed. Zhao Yun shouted respectfully. Very good. Yi Chen nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at Yanhu, who was covered in beast blood, and said, Stay in the city. If anyone barges in, kill them without mercy. Awu! Yanhu nodded his head heavily. Yi Chen smiled, then looked at Zhao Meng and Guo Jia. Feng Shao, Zhao Meng, return to that world first. Ping City in the right has just been taken down. There are still many mutants outside the city. Someone must be there. Yes, my lord. Lord! Guo Jia and Zhao Meng bowed in unison. Zilong, Samsara Legion, follow me! Yi Chen nodded and shouted. Yes, my lord! My lord! Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion replied in unison. At this moment, Guo Jia waved his right hand. The section of the Echo Corridor that had sunk into the ground immediately rose up. When the Echo Corridor returned to the surface, Yi Chen smiled and headed west. Zhao Yun and the 10,000 Samsara Legion followed closely behind and left. Advisor, what is the Lord going to do? Zhao Meng looked at the departing Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion and asked curiously. The Lord is going to teach those bastards a lesson. Guojia smiled and said, Advisor, are you talking about those mutants outside the city? Zhao Meng asked with his eyes wide open. Yes, they used sinister tricks to attract so many Fey soldiers. How can the Lord let them go? Guojia nodded and said, My lord, just bring me along. Zhao Meng said hesitantly when he heard this. Ha ha, let's go. The Lord's mission can't be delayed. Guojia laughed and said. With that, he headed towards Samsara City. In fact, Guojia didn't mention one thing. Yi Chen was going to kill people, but he was also going to intimidate them. Bringing along Zhao Yun was obviously better than bringing along Zhao Meng. For the players, Zhao Yun was the one they knew the most. Although Zhao Meng was strong, he wasn't a famous historical general. He couldn't intimidate the players as much as Zhao Yun. Outside the safe city, Yi Chen led Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion all the way and quickly arrived. Be it Yi Chen, Zhao Yun, or the Samsara Legion, they all reeked of blood. However, none of the ferocious beasts dashed out to cause trouble for Yi Chen and the others. This was because not only did Yi Chen and the others reek of blood, but they also had an extremely strong murderous aura. Although the Fey soldiers were ferocious, they knew what danger was. They didn't dare to get close to Yi Chen and the others, who were constantly emitting murderous aura. A man guarding the city gate saw Yi Chen's group at this time. After being stunned for a moment, he suddenly stood up and shouted in surprise, Brother Yi Laoda. He didn't expect Yi Chen to bring people here after leaving the safe city for only a day. Moreover, it was a group of fully armed people covered in blood. It was obvious that they had been through a bloody battle. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible for everyone to be covered in blood. Yi Chen glanced at the man guarding the city gate and asked, Are the people of the Black Tiger Gang back? If the Black Tiger Gang could think of using human blood to lure over 1,000,000 Fey soldiers, they would naturally have thought of an escape route in advance. Therefore, Yi Chen was very sure that the people of the Black Tiger Gang were still alive. They're back. That's right. Yi Laoda, the Black Tiger Gang captured more than 1,000 people and left. When they came back, they were all sighing. The man hurriedly said. He was very detailed, afraid that Yi Chen would kill him if he wasn't satisfied. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and asked, Where is the headquarters of the Black Tiger Gang? The North District. Boss Yi Chen, the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters is in the North District, B101. The man guarding the city gate hurriedly shouted. Yi Chen headed straight for the safe city when he heard this. Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion followed closely behind. The tall buildings here, which looked like they came from futuristic science fiction, didn't surprise Zhao Yun or the Samsara Legion at all. In their eyes, these were just houses. Chapter 206. The moment Yi Chen appeared with Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion, they were instantly discovered by the people wandering on the street. Gasps of surprise could be heard. Yi Chen. That's Yi Chen. Didn't he just come here yesterday? TSK. How many people did they kill? Why are they all covered in blood? Didn't Boss Yi Chen refuse to accept subordinates? The people behind him are his subordinates, but why are they all dressed like ancient people? Look, that person, that white-robed general, isn't that Zhao Yun? F***CK. It's really Zhao Yun. I've seen him when I was in Pingcheng in the right north. Doesn't this mean that people in the game can be brought to the real world? F***CK. This shouldn't be. A game is a game. How can you bring people from the game to the real world? Idiot, I didn't see it. Zhao Yun was brought out by Boss Yi Chen. Look at the soldiers behind them. They must be Boss Yi Chen's soldiers. Could it be that using the village creation token in the real world can bring people from the game over? It's very possible. Boss Yi Chen is too awesome. Not only is he strong, but now he has a group of subordinates. Who would dare to mess with Boss Yi Chen? I think it's not that no one wants to mess with him, but that someone has already messed with him. Otherwise, why would Yi Chen bring his troops here? Yi Chen led Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion to the north district of the safe city amidst the discussions of the people. Boss Yi Chen went to the north district. That seems to be the Black Tiger Gang's territory. F***CK. The Black Tiger Gang is in trouble. It's good that the Black Tiger Gang is in trouble. They have done a lot of evil. They just captured more than 1,000 people and left the safe city. F***CK. When they came back, they didn't even bring a single one back. Those people must be in trouble. Let's kill them all. Only then will we have a chance to develop. We won't have to worry about being persecuted by them every day. Luckily, I didn't join the Black Tiger Gang. If I had, it would have been a disaster. Safe City, Beauty Alliance, meeting room. What did you say? Yi Chen was here again? With a group of subordinates? The leader of Beauty's Alliance, Yu Jie, was stunned when she heard her subordinates report. Yes, Sister Yao Yao. Yi Chen's subordinates seem to be soldiers from the game. Zhao Yun from the game seems to have come to the real world as well. A former C-list celebrity nodded and said, if that's the case, the people in the game can indeed be brought into the real world, but what does it rely on? Yu Jie narrowed her eyes and said, Sister Yao Yao, could it be that he can bring his subordinates directly to the real world by using the village creation token? Little Loli asked doubtfully. It can't be that simple. If it were that simple, Yi Chen wouldn't have brought 10,000 soldiers to the safe city, but more than 100,000. Moreover, Yi Chen would have brought that Dian Wei over as well. Yu Jie shook her head and said, Sister Yao Yao, are you saying that Yi Chen came here not only to kill but also to intimidate? Little Loli was stunned for a moment before asking. Yu Jie nodded and said, Yi Chen is very strong. Not long ago, he advanced to a saint-level general. That's Xiantian full circle. With such strength, it would be child's play for him to destroy the Black Tiger Gang. There's no need to bring so many people. Even if it's to prevent people from escaping, there's no need to bring so many people, let alone Zhao Yun. However, Yi Chen brought them. This is a warning to all of us not to provoke him. Otherwise, we'll be killed without mercy. Why is the Black Tiger Gang so daring to provoke Yi Chen? Hearing up to this point, the little Loli gulped and asked, I don't know the details, but what's certain is that the Black Tiger Gang must have thought that they could succeed. That's why they provoked Yi Chen. They didn't expect that they would fail and that Yi Chen would come knocking on their door. Yu Jie was silent for a moment before saying, Then what should we do? Should we go and help Yi Chen? Little Loli thought of something and asked, Go, why not? But even if we go, we'll be outside to prevent the Black Tiger Gang from escaping. Yu Jie narrowed her eyes and said, Then I'll go and pass down the order. Little Loli smiled and said, Remember to pass down the order. Don't come into contact with Yi Chen and don't talk to him. Just let him see that we're here. Yu Jie raised her eyebrows and said, Sister Yao Yao, you're so naughty. Little Loli giggled and said, Hurry up and go. The big sister glared at the little Loli and said, Okay. The little Loli nodded her head and ran outside. North District, B101. After Yi Chen brought his people here, he waved his right hand and the God Slayer appeared instantly. He shouted, Kill without mercy! As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, Zhao Yun summoned the Silver Spear of Dragon's Bile and was the first to rush toward the building. The Black Tiger Gang's underlings who were talking nonsense in the hall were stunned when they heard the words, Kill without mercy. When they came back to their senses, they saw Zhao Yun rushing into the hall and the Samsara Legion behind Zhao Yun. In the next second, a scream was heard. No. Not good. Yi Chen. Yi Chen is coming. Don't kill me. A sound was heard. The screaming Black Tiger Gang underling was instantly stabbed to death by Zhao Yun's spear. Kill. Zhao Yun pulled out his spear and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The Samsara Legion began to rush into the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters building and followed Zhao Yun to kill the Black Tiger Gang's underlings. Yi Chun glanced at the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters building and smiled coldly. Then, he walked straight to the elevator. As soon as he entered the elevator, Yi Chun pressed the button for the top floor. After 10 minutes, a ding was heard and the elevator door opened. Yi Chun walked out immediately. "Damn it, who is it? Don't you know you can't just go up here?" An angry roar was heard when Yi Chun appeared. Then, it stopped abruptly. "Yi!" The Black Tiger Gang's underlings guarding the elevator shouted in shock. "Woo!" The God Slayer stabbed him with his spear. Bang! The Black Tiger Gang's underlings guarding the elevator instantly exploded into countless pieces of minced meat. Blood, intestines, and internal organs splattered everywhere. Yi Chun did not even look at him as he continued walking forward. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, several sounds were heard. 6 and 8 stage Black Tiger Gang's underlings suddenly appeared in front of Yi Chun. "Damn it, he's got guts!" One of them shouted angrily. He stopped halfway through his word. "Yi Chun!" One of them narrowed his eyes and shouted in shock. F***CK. Yi Chun is not dead. He's at our door. One of them shouted. Yi Chun looked at the people in front of him and pointed with his left hand. Boom! 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 6 bolts of lightning appeared out of thin air and landed on the 6 of them. The 6 and 8 stage Black Tiger Gang's underlings were instantly charred. Chapter 207. Thud, thud. Yi Chun walked forward and soon came to a door. Glancing at the metal door, Yi Chun lifted his foot and kicked it. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The door was kicked away by Yi Chun. Bang! A loud sound was suddenly heard. 2 of the Black Tiger Gang's men were sent flying by the door and then hit the wall. Bang! Sizzle, sizzle. The door hit the wall and the 2 Black Tiger Gang's men were squashed into meat patties in an instant. Red and white blood stuck to the wall and splattered far away, then slowly flowed down the wall. Yi Laoda, I didn't offend you, did I? Shen Hu, the leader of the Black Tiger Gang, looked at Yi Chun with a pale face and shouted in horror. Yi Chun glanced at the leader of the Black Tiger Gang, Shen Hu, and curled his lips in disdain. Shen Hu would definitely not admit it. Yi Chun had known this for a long time, but Yi Chun didn't need Shen Hu's acknowledgement at all. Seeing that Yi Chun didn't make a move, Shen Hu tried to calm his palpitating heart and then said, Yi Laoda, there must be some misunderstanding between us. Why don't we sit down and talk about it? If the Black Tiger Gang offended Yi Laoda in any way, Yi Laoda can tell me. No matter what Yi Laoda wants, I will definitely do it. Go on. Yi Chun raised his eyebrows and said. Hearing this, Shen Hu's heart suddenly sank. Originally, he had thought that he would try his best to fool him. If that didn't work, he would kowtow and admit his mistake, be a follower, or anything. He could admit anything except for one thing, which was that the Black Tiger Gang had attracted the Demon Clan soldiers to besiege Samsara City with human blood. At the thought of this, Shen Hu felt very uncomfortable. There were so many Demon Clan soldiers. Not only did they not kill Yi Chun, but Yi Chun also came to him. Moreover, Yi Chun seemed to know that the Black Tiger Gang had attracted the Demon Clan soldiers with human blood and besieged Samsara City. How was he going to continue making up stories like this? Shen Hu didn't want to die. He really didn't want to die. Yi Chun was too terrifying. He single-handedly challenged the Yen Wang alliance and now came to the Black Tiger Gang. He didn't have the courage to resist. Can't say it? Yi Chun looked at Shen Hu playfully and asked. Hearing this, Shen Hu's expression changed greatly. He knelt on the ground with a plop and shouted in fear. Yi Laoda, I don't know what the Black Tiger Gang has done to upset you. How about this? From today onwards, the Black Tiger Gang will follow Yi Laoda. Everything in the Black Tiger Gang will belong to Yi Laoda. What do you think? Shun, who did not dare to admit that he had used human blood to design the Samsara city. Once he did, he would definitely die. In his opinion, even if Yi Chen guessed correctly, he couldn't say that the Black Tiger Gang did it because there were no witnesses or evidence. He was determined not to admit it. Only then would he have a chance to live. When Yi Chen heard this, he laughed coldly and flicked his finger. A flame instantly appeared and flew towards Shen Hu. Seeing the flame appear, Shen Hu was stunned. The flame was too small. It wasn't even half the size of the flame that appeared when a match was lit. What did Yi Chen mean by this? Just as he was thinking that the flame didn't have any power and that even if it burned him, it would only cause a blister. Boom! A loud sound was heard. The small flame, which had been extremely weak just a moment ago, instantly exploded and turned into a huge fireball. As it flew, it rapidly grew in size. Yi Laoda! Spare me! Shen Hu's eyes constricted and he shouted in fear. In the next second, the huge fireball landed on Shen Hu's body. The scorching and merciless flames instantly burned all of Shen Hu's hair and the clothes on his body. Ah! A painful cry came from Shen Hu's mouth. Shen Hu immediately laid on the ground and rolled back and forth, trying to extinguish the flames on his body. However, he was shocked to find that the flames couldn't be extinguished. Not only that, they were burning even more fiercely. Zizi, his body started to be burned by the flames, and the aroma of barbecued meat also rose at this moment. Yi Chen, I'll fight it out with you, Shen Hu, who realized that he couldn't extinguish the flames, let out a crazy roar and stood up. However, just as Shen Hu's right foot took a step forward, he stopped in his tracks. A plop sound was heard. Shen Hu fell to the ground once again. Looking at Shen Hu, who had already been burned to death, Yi Chen curled his lips in disdain. After the meteor fell, the despicable nature of human nature was magnified. For the sake of benefits, for the sake of desires, many people would take risks out of desperation and do things that could satisfy their desires. Yanwang Alliance's alliance leader Niu was like that, and Shen Hu was also like that. Yi Chen had seen a lot of people like this in his previous life. Some had died and some had succeeded. In this life, Yi Chen would only choose one way to deal with such people, and that was to kill them without mercy. Zizi Shen Hu's body was still burning intensely, but Yi Chen didn't even look at it. Using his spiritual sense, he didn't find anything useful. Yi Chen turned around and left the house. Coming to the elevator, Yi Chen took the elevator and went downstairs. At this moment, Zhao Yun was leading the Samsara Corps to clean up the Black Tiger Gang's underlings. Screams, and cries continuously sounded out from the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters. After Yi Chen left the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters, the onlookers on the streets all took a few steps back. A person's name was like a tree's shadow. Yi Chen's overbearingness, cruelty, and arrogance were all deeply ingrained in people's hearts. It was like this in the game, and it was also like this in real life. However, Yi Chen was very principled. Those who didn't provoke Yi Chen would be ignored by Yi Chen. However, those who provoked Yi Chen would be mercilessly destroyed, just like what the people on the streets saw. There were many onlookers on the street. Among them were the underlings of the gangs, and there were also solo players. Some of them were here to watch the show, but most of them wanted to see what they could get. This was because this was the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters, the headquarters that was about to be destroyed by Yi Chen. The things that Yi Chen did not care for were very useful in their opinion, even very useful. Yi Chen knew what they were thinking, but Yi Chen didn't care about these things. It was just some junk. Yi Chen didn't care about it at all. Just at this moment, a voice filled with nervousness and anticipation sounded out. Big Boss Yi Chen, are you still taking in underlings? I am really willing to be Yi Chen's underling. I swear that I will never betray Big Boss Yi Chen. As soon as he said this, the crowd quieted down. Everyone looked at Yi Chen. They were waiting for Yi Chen's answer. They all knew that Yi Chen had never taken in underlings before, but they still hoped that Yi Chen would change his mind. That way, they would be able to follow Yi Chen and survive in this F***ket-up world. They might even be able to live a better life. Yi Chen was strong, Yi Chen was overbearing, and no one dared to provoke Yi Chen. Everyone thought that it was good to enjoy the shade under a big tree. Chapter 208. Yi Chen glanced at the man who asked the question and said, "I won't accept anyone into my territory. My territory doesn't accept anyone because your so-called loyalty doesn't exist at all." As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the onlookers were all stunned, then instantly went into an uproar. "Boss Yi Chen, I swear that I'm really loyal to you. Boss Yi Chen, as long as you're willing to accept me, I promise that I'll never disobey any of your orders, nor will I have any thoughts of betrayal. Yes, Boss Yi Chen, we're all sincere in wanting to be your underlings. Please accept us." Yi Chen glanced at the inexplicably excited people, then turned to look at the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters building. No matter what they said, Yi Chen wouldn't believe them. Even if there were indeed loyal people among them, this loyalty was due to their insignificance and lowliness at this stage. In his previous life, since the beginning of the prehistoric times, betrayals had been happening all over the world. It wasn't just the East, it was the same all over the world. No one was willing to be an underling for the rest of their lives. No one was willing to work for others. No one didn't desire power, no one didn't desire longevity, and no one didn't want to have everything. When one's strength reached a certain level, ambition would naturally appear. Therefore, no matter what these people said or how they swore, Yi Chen wouldn't care. Time passed slowly. When Zhao Yun led the Samsara Legion out of the Black Tiger Gang's headquarters building, covered in blood, Yi Chen's expressionless face finally revealed a smile. "Greetings, Lord." Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion knelt on one knee and greeted loudly. "Return to the city." Yi Chen nodded with a smile, then said, "Yes, Lord." Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion responded in unison, then got up and followed Yi Chen out of the safe city. The crowd on the street opened up a path for Yi Chen's group without prior agreement. After Yi Chen left with Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion, the crowd on the street sighed. "Hi, why is Yi Chen so distrustful? Yeah, it would be great if he accepted us as his underlings. Don't even think about it. If Yi Chen can bring Zhao Yun and his soldiers to the real world, he definitely won't be interested in us. You have to know that the people in the game all have loyalty. It seems like there are even some that are die-hard loyal. Sigh, what a pity. If I could follow Yi Chen, not only would I have a better life, my strength would also increase rapidly. In the future, I would be able to get whatever I want. *CK, I also want to hang out with Yi Chen. Unfortunately, he looks down on me. In the Safe City, Beauty's Alliance, meeting room, not a single person from the Black Tiger Gang escaped? After listening to her subordinate's report, the big sister was stunned and then asked with a frown. "Yes, big sister Yao Yao. I don't know what happened to the Black Tiger Gang. There's not a single person outside. I wanted to catch a few people and kill them in front of Yi Chen." A model sighed and then said, "This bunch of trash. They don't even know how to do a good thing before they die." The big sister cursed hatefully when she heard this. "Big sister Yao Yao, if we didn't do anything, Yi Chen won't have a good impression of us. Moreover, the people here won't think that we have anything to do with Yi Chen. Doesn't that mean our plan has failed?" Little Loli said with a melancholy look at this time. "It's fine. Little you. Have you confirmed Yi Chen's location in the game? You sent so many people to look for him. Haven't you found him yet?" The big sister frowned and then asked. "We haven't found him yet." Little Loli sighed and then said, "Then why don't we ask Little You to go directly to Reincarnation City in the real world to find Yi Chen? If she comes forward, Yi Chen will more or less give Little You some face. Then, our Beauty's Alliance will be able to get Yi Chen's help." The model who came to report to the big sister asked in confusion at this time. The big sister was silent for a moment and then said, "There are too many unforeseen events in the real world. There are countless beasts outside, and there are also many monsters. Their cultivation realm is comparable to the Sciention realm of humans. If you don't have good weapons and your martial strength isn't at the Sciention realm, you'll only end up dead if you encounter a monster. It's too dangerous to ask little you to go. Moreover, we don't know where Yi Chen's reincarnation city is." Big Sister Yao Yao. "I don't know if I should say something." Little Loli thought of something at this time, and said hesitantly, "Ki." The big sister glared at little Loli and then said, Little Loli stuck out her tongue, and then said, "Big Sister Yao Yao, I feel that our strategy from the beginning was wrong. Although I haven't been in contact with Yi Chen, the feeling he gives me is not the same as the stinky men Big Sister Yao Yao talks about. He doesn't seem to care about women or underlings at all. To him, there are only two kinds of people: strangers and enemies." Hearing this, the big sister was stunned and then fell silent. After a while, the big sister frowned and said, "He can't be a pervert, right? Even if his nature is cold, he wouldn't be so indifferent to everyone. Little Yu is his classmate, and he even saved Little Yu." Big Sister Yao Yao, "I can't guess this. I feel that Yi Chen is completely different. He's very different. Otherwise, with his current achievements, he can get any woman he wants. Even if he destroys our beauty's alliance, it'll be effortless." Little Loli's face suddenly turned red when she said this. Hearing this, the big sister was stunned. Then, she glared at little Loli and said, "No matter how weak we are, we can't be wiped out by him. Okay, let's change our strategy. Continue to look for Samsara City in the game. Everything else is to show him our goodwill. I don't believe that he's a blockhead who doesn't understand human feelings. In the real world, Samsara City, west of the city." After Yi Chen returned with Zhao Yun and the Samsara Legion, he glanced at the corpses of the Shifter clan soldiers all over the mountains and raised his eyebrows. He then said, "Today's food will be the meat of these Shifter clan soldiers. Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord!" The soldiers of the Samsara Legion were excited when they heard this and cheered in unison. The meat of Shifter clan soldiers was rich in energy. Eating it was good for the body and could improve one's strength. They had only heard of it but had never eaten it. Now that Yi Chen allowed them to eat Shifter clan soldiers, they were naturally happy. Yi Chen smiled and waved his right hand. Then, he said, "Go." As soon as Yi Chen said this, the soldiers of the Samsara Legion rushed to the corpses of the Shifter clan soldiers. Zhao Yun glanced at the excited soldiers of the Samsara Legion and bowed. "My lord, there are many Shifter clan soldiers. The strength of the Samsara Legion is going to increase by a lot." Yi Chen nodded and said with a smile, "Yes, it can indeed increase by a lot. It's a pity that we haven't found a cultivation method yet. Otherwise, the Samsara Legion would most likely advance to king-level generals." Chapter 209. When Zhao Yun heard the pity in Yi Chen's words, he hurriedly bowed and said, "My lord, success will definitely come naturally. When the time comes, the Samsara Legion will definitely shock the world." Zilong is right. Success will definitely come naturally. It won't be too soon. When we start the northern expedition, it will be almost ready. Yi Chen smiled and said. Zhao Yun was slightly stunned. He didn't understand Yi Chen's meaning. Yi Chen patted Zhao Yun's shoulder and said with a smile, "Zilong, you will know when the time comes?" Yi Chen said this because Yi Chen's confidence stemmed from his luck. After using the nameless ancient book, Yi Chen's luck increased by 20,000 points. His luck was already at an abnormal level. This kind of luck might not be very effective for high-level cultivation techniques, but for ordinary king-level cultivation techniques, killing 8 or 10 of them would result in one of them dropping one. Yi Chen was very confident about this. In his previous life, the idiot who obtained the nameless ancient book was like this. His luck was so good that it made people envious. He could kill monsters randomly and get good things to drop, and they were even super level. That guy didn't use the nameless ancient book because he didn't know what it was used for. So, he sold 10,000 copies. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't know about the existence of the nameless ancient book. Of course, Yi Chen didn't release a single nameless ancient book. All 20,000 copies were used by Yi Chen. 20,000 points of luck was completely different from the dozens of points of other people's luck. Time passed by slowly. When the Samsara Legion soldiers finished eating the roasted monster meat, Yi Chen led the Samsara Legion back to Samsara City. Looking at the group of people who had eaten and drunk to their heart's content, Yi Chen smiled and said, "Let's go back to that world." "Yes, my lord." The soldiers of the Samsara Legion replied in unison. Then, they disappeared from Samsara City one by one. "My lord, why don't you leave some people behind to guard the place? What if more small fries come?" Zhao Yun asked with some doubt. "There's no need. With Yenhu around, no one will be able to sneak into Samsara City. Furthermore, if someone really dares to come close, the automatic attack arrow towers on the walls of Samsara City won't just be for show," Yi Chen said with a smile. When Zhao Yun heard this, he heaved a sigh of relief and said, "My lord, in this case we don't have to worry about the safety of Samsara City for the next 2 months." Yi Chen nodded and said, "That's right. Zilong is right. It will be 2 months before we send troops to guard the Samsara City in this world. By then, the property of the safe zone will disappear. The Samsara City will not only have to guard against the small fries, but also the Shifter clan." When Yi Chen said this, his eyes narrowed and a cold light flashed. In 2 months, the property of the safe zone would disappear. By then, the world would truly enter an era of chaos. It was also at that time that the flames of war between the Shifter clan and the Human clan would spread across the world. When he thought of this, Yi Chen let out a long sigh and said, "Zilong, we should go back." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun bowed and replied. In the next second, Zhao Yun's surroundings suddenly distorted and Zhao Yun disappeared from the real world. Yi Chen headed straight for the Castellan's mansion. When he arrived at the main hall, Yi Chen looked at Yenhu, who had already washed up. He couldn't help but smile and said, "Take care of the house." Yenhu nodded his head and laid down on the ground, motionless. This guy had eaten too much monster meat. Otherwise, he wouldn't have laid there motionless after returning. Yi Chen shook his head helplessly, then walked to the diamond-level gaming cabin and lay down. When the door of the gaming cabin closed, Yi Chen closed his eyes. Prehistoric game, Novice Zone of the Three Kingdoms, Yuzhou, Samsara City, Castellan's Mansion. A pillar of light suddenly appeared. When the pillar of light disappeared, Yi Chen appeared. Seeing Yi Chen return, Kai Yan, who had been waiting for Yi Chen, suddenly cried out excitedly, "General!" At this moment, Yi Chen opened his eyes and saw Kai Yan's incomparably excited expression. His heart immediately warmed as he softly said, "I'm back." Kai Yan nodded heavily. As she spoke, her bright eyes suddenly became misty. Yi Chen sighed inwardly and raised his hand to gently wipe away Kai Yan's tears. Then, he hugged Kai Yan in his arms and said softly, "It's good to have you. I'm relieved that General has returned safely." Kai Yan leaned into Yi Chen's arms and said softly. At this moment, the system notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen's basic spear technique, divine level 4 advancing to innate. You have obtained the right to name it. Do you wish to name it? When Yi Chen heard this, he was stunned. Then, his eyes lit up. Give it a name. Damn, innate attribute points are here again. Thinking of this, Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. Yes. Ding. Please name it. Reincarnation Spear Technique. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for comprehending the innate skill, Reincarnation Spear Technique. As soon as the system notification ended, the world announcement sounded. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the first to comprehend the innate skill, Reincarnation Spear Technique. Spear God Attribute X2. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the first to comprehend the innate skill, Reincarnation Spear Technique. Reward: Innate Attribute Points plus 20. As soon as the world announcement appeared, the world channel exploded. Damn. Yi Chen can actually comprehend an innate skill? What kind of skill is an innate skill? Is it very awesome? Needless to say, just look at the world announcement and you will know. Damn, it directly increased 20 innate attribute points. An innate skill must be a top-notch skill. Damn, why did the Spear God's attribute directly increase by 2 times? Damn, how can people still play with this? You speak as if you know what the Spear God's attribute is. No matter what it is, it must be very abnormal. Now that it directly increased by 2 times, damn, Yi Chen is invincible. Damn, Yi Chen is already invincible. Damn, there aren't many king-level generals. Yi Chen is already a saint-level general. Who can compete with him? Boss Yi Chen is indeed awesome. Are you convinced? Sigh, comparisons are odious. Damn, this Yi Chen is a freak. His development is too fast. His strength is also ridiculously fast. No wonder at the beginning, people said that Yi Chen knew the secret of this game. Now it seems that this is the case. Otherwise, how can he be so awesome? Damn. It must be so. Damn, Yi Chen, if you are still human, then you should reveal the secret. In the real world, there are shifters everywhere. You can't be selfish. Yes, Yi Chen, you have to reveal the secret. You can't watch humans get bullied by the shifters. Only when we all become stronger can humans survive. Otherwise, we will definitely be destroyed by the shifters. Chapter 210. Templar Town congratulates General Yi Chen for comprehending the Xiantian Realm Technique. Beauty Alliance congratulates General Yi Chen for comprehending the Xiantian Realm Technique. The world channel was very lively. Yi Chen glanced at it and stopped paying attention. Others were shouting their slogans loudly, but their ultimate goal was still to help themselves. There were selfless people in his previous life, but in the end, they all became food on someone else's plate. This was the reality after the meteor fell. Yi Chen saw it clearly and understood it. Here's something good for you. Yi Chen looked at Kai Yen in his arms and said with a smile. What good stuff? Kai Yen raised her head and asked with a blushing face. Yi Chen waved his right hand and a 2-world stone appeared in Yi Chen's hand. This is... Kai Yen looked at the 2-world stone in confusion. 2-world stone. Use it and you can follow me to my world. Do you want to come? Yi Chen smiled and asked. Yes. Kai Yan's eyes lit up when she heard this. She took the 2-world stone without hesitation and chose to use it. Yi Chen saw this and couldn't help but smile. He lowered his head and kissed Kai Yan. Kai Yan's shy face turned even redder when she was suddenly kissed by Yi Chen. Give these 2 to Zhao Yu and Diaochan. I'm going out for a while. Yi Chen laughed. He waved his right hand and 2 2-world stones appeared again. He handed them to Kai Yan and said, All right, I'll send it to my 2 elder sisters right now. Kai Yan took the 2-world stone and hurriedly ran towards the back residence. Kai Yan was too shy and didn't dare to look at Yi Chen. Yi Chen saw this and couldn't help but smile. He left the city lord's mansion and headed to the restaurant. In a restaurant in Samsara City. When Yi Chen arrived, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw the peddlers going in and out. There's no running away from premium resources. After waiting for so long, the Copper Sparrow Pavilion was finally ready to be built. He already had Diaochan, Zhao Yu, Kai Yan. There should be no way for the fans to run away with 4 beautiful concubines. He could begin to display the characteristics of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. There was still a long way to go. He still needed to rob. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. At this moment, a very unhappy voice sounded. Sigh, the price of this 100-flower wine is too high. You still have to take out high-quality resources, or else you won't sell it. This is simply forcing people to do something they can't. It was a fat merchant with big ears, nagging with a bored expression. Yes, this rule is too unreasonable. We are here to buy things, not to sell things. A merchant who walked out of the restaurant with them said in agreement. As soon as these two people's words fell, they instantly resonated with each other. That's right. We spend money to buy things, but they still impose additional conditions. This is completely robbing. 1 bottle of 100-flower wine for 1 purple gold coin. This price is too high. We are willing to spend money to buy it, but they still force us to sell high-quality resources. If this isn't robbing, then what is? Let's go to the city lord of Samsara City. How can they sell wine like this? This is simply a big joke. Yi Chen listened to the merchant's discussion and narrowed his eyes. The price of 1 purple gold coin per bottle of 100-flower wine in Samsara City was set by Yi Chen. If one wanted to buy 100-flower wine, they had to take out high-quality resources. Otherwise, they couldn't buy it. This was also set by Yi Chen. This was because the construction of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion required a large amount of high-quality resources. Therefore, high-quality resources were necessary for Yi Chen. If the merchants didn't agree to sell high-quality resources to Samsara City, or if they didn't have high-quality resources, they couldn't buy 100-flower wine. And these merchants left the restaurant because Zhao Heng refused to cooperate with them. But now, they were discussing wantonly and attracted others to join in. This directly angered Yi Chen. Looking at the merchants who were getting more and more agitated and their voices getting louder and louder, Yi Chen smiled coldly and waved his hand. Bang, bang, bang. Hurried footsteps were heard. A pair of patrolling soldiers of Samsara City hurriedly ran over. Greetings, my lord. The patrolling soldiers came to Yi Chen, knelt on one knee, and shouted loudly. As soon as the patrolling soldiers finished speaking, the merchants' discussion stopped abruptly. Then, they all looked at Yi Chen. They didn't expect that Yi Chen, who was dressed casually, was the city lord of Samsara City. As for what they had said earlier, Yi Chen had heard it all. At the thought of this, the faces of the merchants all changed in an instant. General, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. One of them shouted with a panicked face. General, I'm willing to exchange high-quality resources for 100-flower wine. One of them hurriedly shouted. General, I'm also willing to give you high-quality resources. I'll give them to you for free. Another person shouted. The merchants began to explain. Some of them were even willing to exchange high-quality resources for 100-flower wine, and some even directly offered high-quality resources for free. There was no trace of the previous complaints on their faces. Their attitudes were all sincere. As for the reason, it was very simple. Yi Chen was general pacifying north of the Great Han Empire and the city lord of Samsara City, while they were just merchants. The difference in status was like heaven and earth. But they actually said something bad about Yi Chen. Not only did they complain about 100-flower wine, but they also compared Yi Chen to a robber. It would be fine even if Yi Chen killed them. Yi Chen pointed casually and said, "These people gathered to make trouble. Take them out and give them 100 beatings." As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the merchants' faces suddenly turned pale. Yi Chen didn't explicitly say that he would kill them, but it would be difficult for them to survive 100 beatings. "Yes, my lord. My lord." When the patrolling soldiers heard this, they bowed in unison. Plop, plop. A series of kneeling sounds were heard. "General, spare me. Spare me. I'm willing to give you all my property." A merchant begged in horror. "General, I was wrong. I was wrong. I beg you to let me live." The fat merchant shouted in horror. "General, I'm willing to give you all my property. Please have mercy. Please have mercy." Yi Chen didn't even look at these merchants and walked straight into the restaurant. At this time, the patrolling soldiers grabbed the merchants who were kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy and walked out of the city. Yi Chen's purpose of punishing these merchants was very simple. It was to tell all the merchants that there was no need to worry about not having enough customers to buy 100-flower wine. Of course, the other purpose was to intimidate them. Since they came to Samsara city, they should behave themselves. If they were willing to cooperate, then they should cooperate. If not, then they should leave. Don't learn from that fat man and use crooked methods to make trouble. Otherwise, they would definitely be punished. And the result of the punishment was actually death. Greetings, Sir Lord. The restaurant owner saw Yi Chen enter and hurriedly came forward to greet him. Yi Chen nodded and asked, "Is the Vice City Lord upstairs?" "Sir Lord, the Vice City Lord is upstairs right now. He seems to be receiving a wealthy merchant from Shuzhou." The restaurant owner bowed and said, "A wealthy merchant from Shuzhou. It should be Mi Zhen's brother, Mi Zhu." Thinking of this, Yi Chen went straight to the second floor of the restaurant. Chapter 211. Ha ha ha, Vice City Lord Zhao, it's a pleasure to work with you. A hearty laugh sounded when Yi Chen reached the second floor of the restaurant. Pleasure to work with you, Zhao Heng said with a smile. Zhao Heng said with a smile. After he finished speaking, Zhao Heng saw Yi Chen going upstairs. He hurriedly stood up and bowed. Zhao Heng pays his respects to the Lord. When the middle-aged man heard this, he hurriedly stood up and looked at Yi Chen. He then bowed and said, "Mi Zhu from Shuzhou greets General Ping Bei." Yi Chen smiled when he heard this. He helped Mi Zhu up and said with a smile, "I have long heard of Brother Zizhong's name. It is a great pleasure to be able to meet Brother Zizhong today. General, I'm just a merchant. It's good enough that people don't scold me." Mi Zhu smiled bitterly and said, "I'm just a merchant." Yi Chen solemnly said, "Brother Zizhong, you don't have to be modest. In my opinion, Brother Zizhong has both ability and integrity. You're kind and charitable. You're worthy of being one of the great Han dynasty's nobles." Mi Zhu was stunned for a moment before he smiled and asked, "It's a rare opportunity to meet the general. May I have a drink with the general?" "That's how it should be." Yi Chen laughed. Then, he ordered downstairs, "Bring up good wine and dishes." "Yes, Lord Zhao." "Sir Lord." When the restaurant owner heard Yi Chen's order, he hurriedly bowed and responded, then ran off to prepare the dishes. "Brother Zizhong, please." Yi Chen turned to Mi Zhu and smiled. "General, please." Mi Zhu bowed and gestured for Yi Chen to take a seat. Yi Chen smiled and took the main seat. Only then did Mi Zhu take a seat beside Yi Chen. Zhao Heng looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "Lord Zhao, this lowly one will have to make arrangements for the brewing of 100 flowers wine. I'll take my leave." "Wait." Yi Chen suddenly thought of something and called out. He waved his right hand and a few blueprints appeared. "My lord, this is?" Zhao Heng couldn't help but ask when he saw the blueprint in Yi Chen's hand. "I got it when I conquered Ping City. Tell the blacksmiths to speed up the production. I want to see 100,000 sets within a month," Yi Chen said with a smile. After he finished speaking, he handed over the blueprint in his hand. Zhao Heng took a look at it and was stunned. Then, he exclaimed, "Diamond-grade equipment blueprint. Blazing Sun armor, diamond grade. Blueprint X1, tempered steel spear, diamond grade. Blueprint X1, requiem bow, diamond grade. Blueprint X1, heavy horse armor, diamond grade. Blueprint X1. No matter how Zhao Heng thought about it, he never expected Yi Chen to take out a diamond-ranked equipment blueprint. One had to know that even the elite troops of the Great Han Empire were not equipped with such luxurious equipment. Even centurions and kiliarchs in elite troops rarely had diamond-level equipment. Yi Chen's intention was obviously to equip all the soldiers of Samsara City with diamond-grade equipment, not the sergeants, centurions, and kiliarchs. Looking at the shocked Zhao Heng, Yi Chen could not help but smile. Then, he said, "It is indeed a diamond-level blueprint. Make the arrangements. Within a month, you must make 100,000 set. I have great use for them." When Zhao Heng heard Yi Chen's words, he immediately came back to his senses. Then, he remembered something and hurriedly bowed. He bowed and said, Lord Zhaoheng, Samsara City can provide the materials needed for diamond equipment, but the production speed is not fast. There are only 300 blacksmiths in Samsara City. They can only produce 300 pieces of diamond equipment in a day. Yi Chen frowned when he heard this. Yi Chen didn't expect the production speed to be so slow. Mi Zhu's eyes lit up. He stood up and bowed. Don't worry, General. I'm willing to give you 5,000 blacksmith. 1,000 of them are advanced, 2,000 of them are intermediate, and 2,000 of them are beginner. I'm sure we can complete 100,000 pieces of diamond equipment within a month. Yi Chen's eyes widened when he heard this. He said, "Thank you for your help, Brother Zizhong. If you need anything in the future, feel free to look for me in Samsara City. I'll do my best to help as long as it's within my means." "General, there's no need for the future. I can do it today," Mi Zhu said seriously. "What is Brother Zizhong referring to?" Yi Chen was slightly taken aback before he asked. "Mi Zhu of Shuzhou, Mi Zizhong, is willing to follow you. Please accept me." Mi Zhu put on a serious face and bowed solemnly. Holy shit! Did he just accept me as his master? Yi Chen was stunned. Just then, the system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen. Mi Zhu, a famous historical general, wishes to accept you as his master. Do you accept? Holy shit! Isn't that what I'm here for? Of course I accept. Accept? Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of a famous historical general, Mi Zhu. Yi Chen hurriedly helped Mi Zhu up and laughed loudly. It's my fortune to have Zizhong's help, the fortune of reincarnation. Mi Zhu was overjoyed when he heard this. He bowed formally and said, Mi Zhu, Mi Zizhong greets my lord. Just then, a world announcement sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of a famous historical general, Mi Zhu. Due to his special status, player Yi Chen is rewarded with 10 million reputation points and 10 million gold coins. Once the world announcement sounded, the world channel, which had just calmed down, erupted again. Holy shit! Are you kidding me? Is Yi Chen a GM in this game? This is cheating. Cheating. Holy shit. He just learned a Xiantian skill and got a bunch of benefits. How can he just turn around and accept Mi Zhu? Is there any justice in this world? That's not the most ridiculous part. The most ridiculous part is that Yi Chen changed history. Mi Zhu was very important to Liu Bei. Without Mi Zhu, Liu Bei wouldn't have been able to rise after his fall. It has nothing to do with me. I just want to know if Mi Zhu's sister, the historical Lady Mi of Liu Bei, also ended up in Yi Chen's bowl. Holy shit, you might be right. Lady Mi is Mi Zhen. She's Mi Zhu's biological sister. Holy shit. Yi Chen accepted Mi Zhu. Mi Zhen is the meat in Yi Chen's mouth. Holy shit. I don't want to live anymore. Diaochan was taken by Yi Chen, Kai Yan was taken by Yi Chen, and now there's a beautiful Mi Zhen who's going to be taken by Yi Chen. What else do we have to do? Holy shit. You guys missed the key point. Mi Zhu. He's a rich merchant from Shuzhou. He's worth over 100 million and has countless craftsmen. If he follows Yi Chen's Samsara City will develop even faster. It'll be even harder to catch up to Yi Chen. Chapter 212. Yi Chen glanced at the sour words in the world channel and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The others were right. After Mi Zhu acknowledged him as its master, Samsara City's development would definitely soar. When a territory reached the level of a city, it would require a large number of craftsmen and materials. Furthermore, it would require high-quality resources. With Mi Zhu's help, 99% of the obstacles to Samsara City's growth had been eliminated. Of course, without Mi Zhu, Samsara City would still develop rapidly. It would just take some time. They would need to nurture talents and exchange 100-flower wine for high-quality resources. However, with Mi Zhu's addition, this process would be greatly shortened. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile at this thought. He looked at Mi Zhu and said, "Zizhong, quickly take a seat. Let's drink to our heart's content today." "Yes, my lord." Mi Zhu smiled and bowed before sitting down again. "Congratulations, my lord. With Zizhong's addition, Samsara City will be like a tiger that has grown wings. It will be unstoppable." Zhao Heng smiled and bowed as he congratulated Yi Chen. "That's for sure." Yi Chen laughed out loud and replied, "My lord, I will arrange for the craftsmen to begin crafting diamond-grade weapons and armor." Zhao Heng hurriedly bowed as he recalled Yi Chen's instructions. If Yi Chen wanted to craft 100,000 sets of diamond-grade equipment in a month, it must be important. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said so. Zhao Heng didn't dare to be careless. Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Then, he said, "Go. Also, pass down the order that the blacksmiths will be provided with all their meals and necessities. Every time they forge a set of diamond equipment, they will be rewarded with 1 gold. Although this world was a game world, it was real. It wasn't made up of data. Yi Chen made this decision so that the blacksmiths would work hard and happily. Of course, money and whatnot were not worth mentioning to Yi Chen, who was rich and overbearing. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't have offered such a high reward. "Yes, my lord." Zhao Heng was slightly taken aback when he heard this. He then bowed and replied. Then, he left the restaurant with the diamond-level blueprint. When Mi Zhu heard this, he hurriedly stood up and bowed. "My lord, this subordinate will take his leave as well. I will arrange for the craftsmen in my family to be sent to Samsara City. Zizhong, you don't have to be in such a hurry. You can go after drinking." Yi Chen was slightly taken aback. Then, he smiled and said. Mi Zhu shook his head and bowed. "My lord, how could this lowly one delay? Please wait a moment, Mi Zhu will return shortly." "All right, I'll wait here for Zizhong's return. Today we must drink to our heart's content," Yi Chen said with a laugh. "Yes, my lord." Mi Zhu bowed with a smile and left the restaurant. Yi Chen smiled and looked at his attribute panel. Without hesitation, he added the 20 innate attribute points that he had obtained from comprehending the innate skill to his innate bone frame. Yi Chen had been reluctant to ascend to the Eldritch Wilderness for 2 reasons. One was the God-tier village creation token's ability to ascend to the Eldritch Wilderness, and the other was the innate attribute points. Yi Chen understood the importance of his innate bone frame. Yi Chen didn't want to miss out on an opportunity to increase his innate bone frame. The stronger his innate bone frame, the easier it would be for him to ascend to the Eldritch Wilderness. Yi Chen, 3rd Class Marquis, General who pacifies the North, City Lord of Samsara City. Title: Spear God. Characteristics: when using spear-type weapons, attack x4, accuracy x4, comprehension plus 200. Saint-tier General Level: 97 Reputation, 36. 35 million, increases attractiveness to historical figures. Merit: 68. 12 million Force: 100 Emperor-tier General Force, 93, 94, 95, Emperor-tier General Force, 96, 97, 98, Saint-tier General Force, 99,100 Innate Bone Frame, Sciention Body, 60, Primordial Spirit, 1, Sealed, Fortune, Profound Cultivation Technique, 9 Revolutions Mysterious Art, Primal Chaos. Divine Night Thunder Manipulation Technique, Primal Chaos, Skill. Reincarnation Spear Technique, Innate, Equipment. Godslayer, Incomplete. Innate Cardinal Treasure, Fire Spirit Pearl, Innate Spiritual Treasure. Black Cloud Armor, Mystic, True, Money. 4,145,000 Purple Gold. Items: Yang Restoration Pill X3, Conscription Token Heaven, X1 Village Creation Token Gold, X5 General Soul King, X1 General Soul Emperor Tier, X7 General Soul Emperor Tier, X1 General Soul Emperor Tier, X1 General Soul Emperor Tier, X1 Barbarian Bull Technique Emperor Tier True, X1, golden urn hammer, earth tier, true, X1, green wolf technique, emperor tier, true, X1, green wolf blade, earth tier, true, X1, wild wind technique, emperor tier, true, X1, three-pointed double-edged blade, earth tier, true, X1, earth-shattering art, emperor tier, true, X7, earth-shattering spear, emperor tier, true, X7, and 132 boxes of supreme-grade jewels. A comfortable feeling appeared in Yi Chen's body wave after wave. Yi Chen's lips curled up involuntarily. Not bad, not bad. The Xiantian body was already at 60 points. Another 41 points and he would be able to level up. Yi Chen had just finished his thought when he heard footsteps approaching. A few breaths later, Mi Zhu walked up to the second floor. When he saw Mi Zhu, Yi Chen smiled and said, "Zizhong, take a seat?" "Yes, my lord." Mi Zhu smiled and bowed before taking a seat beside Yi Chen. "Zizhong, do you regret making such a hasty decision?" Yi Chen chuckled as he looked at the smiling Mi Zhu. The reason for Yi Chen's question was simple. Mi Zhu had recognized Yi Chen as his master far too quickly. Furthermore, Mi Zhu had been constantly giving Yi Chen benefits. Although Yi Chen had accepted Mi Zhu as his master, he couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. It wasn't a good idea to hide it, so it was better to ask the truth. Mi Zhu was taken aback for a moment before he smiled and asked, "Does your highness doubt why I chose to follow your highness so quickly?" Yi Chen nodded and said, "Don't be angry, Zizhong. I do have some doubts. My lord, have you ever seen the yellow turbans?" When Mi Zhu heard this, he smiled and poured a cup of tea for Yi Chen before asking, "What's the matter?" When Yi Chen heard this, he raised his eyebrows. Every player knew about the yellow turbans, so how could Yi Chen not know? He had ordered the production of 10,000 pieces of diamond equipment in a month in preparation for the Yellow Turbans' rebellion. Of course, at that time, the Yellow Turbans wouldn't be the only ones to cause trouble. The Yao race would also cover the land. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. He then said, "Zizhong, do you see that the world is about to fall into chaos?" "That's right," Mi Zhu said without hiding anything. "But the Han dynasty is still around, and His Majesty is still around. Is Zizhong so sure that the Han dynasty is going to fall?" Yi Chen asked with a smirk. Mi Zhu was silent for a moment before answering, "The people have lost their support. The country is not far from falling." Chapter 213. Yi Chen was taken aback by Mi Zhu's bold words. In this era, there weren't many natives who could see this. Mi Zhu was one of these people, which surprised Yi Chen a little. The people of the great Han Empire had lost their support, but many natives still believed that the Han dynasty was the orthodox. But Mi Zhu didn't seem to be the case. However, Yi Chen preferred subordinates like Mi Zhu. If Mi Zhu was loyal to the Han dynasty, he would rather not take him in. It was because Mi Zhu had seen through this that he began to plan for the future. Yi Chen's appearance gave Mi Zhu an excellent choice. Of course, if Yi Chen didn't have Samsara City, didn't have the title of General pacifying the North, and didn't take less than 2 hours to conquer Ping City, Mi Zhu wouldn't have chosen Yi Chen. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. Then, he said, "Zizhong, don't say these words so easily in the future." Mi Zhu heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "My lord, your humble servant knows that. Otherwise, your humble servant wouldn't have said it." Ding. Mi Zhu's loyalty plus 20. Ding. Mi Zhu has leveled up to loyal. When the system notification rang out, Yi Chen could not help but raise his eyebrows. After which, he asked, "Zizhong, don't you find it strange that I would directly come to the restaurant to look for you?" Mi Zhu hurriedly said, "My lord, you must have seen my sister. Please forgive me. My sister is a little stubborn. She didn't listen to my advice and insisted on going to your residence." "How could I blame you? Mi Zhen is naive and innocent. I can't wait to like her." Yi Chen laughed. Mi Zhu was stunned and quickly said, My lord, my sister isn't married yet. Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes lit up and he asked, Really? Your humble servant wouldn't dare lie to you. Mi Zhu smiled. No matter how one looked at it, Yi Chen must have taken a liking to Mi Zhen. Otherwise, why would Mi Zhu be so happy? In this era, marriage was very important. It was the link to maintain relationship. Since Mi Zhu had chosen to follow Yi Chen, he naturally hoped to deepen his relationship with Yi Chen. Even if Yi Chen didn't mention it, Mi Zhu would still find a way to give Mi Zhen to Yi Chen. Now that Yi Chen had brought it up, how could Mi Zhu refuse? He was more than happy to oblige. And for Yi Chen, this was exactly what he wanted. If the Copper Sparrow Terrace wanted to display its power, naturally, the more beauties it had, the better. There were not many beauties that could be recognized by Wisdom Brain Pangu, so naturally, Yi Chen would grab every single one he saw. Besides, Mi Zhen was really cute and beautiful. Yi Chen didn't lose anything. Of course, if they didn't like Yi Chen's women, Yi Chen wouldn't force them. But if they had to stay at the Copper Sparrow Terrace, Yi Chen wouldn't make any concessions. Thinking of this, Yi Chen laughed and said, Zizhong, so this matter is settled? It's settled, Mi Zhu said without hesitation. At this time, the restaurant owner personally brought the dishes upstairs. After placing them on the table, he bowed and excused himself. Come, Zizhong, let's drink. We won't go home until we're drunk. Yi Chen laughed and poured wine for Mi Zhu. It's settled, Mi Zhu said happily. Time slowly passed. The moon hung high in the sky. Mi Zhu drank until he was dizzy, but Yi Chen was completely fine. In the end, Yi Chen called for Mi Zhu's servant to escort Mi Zhu to the inn, while Yi Chen returned to the city lord's mansion. Ding dong, ding dong. The sound of the zither reached Yi Chen's ears as soon as he entered the backyard. Passing through the round door, Yi Chen saw Kai Yan playing the zither gracefully, Jiao Chan, Zhao Yu, and Mi Zhen dancing in the pavilion. The zither music was pleasant to the ears and the dance was graceful. Yi Chen couldn't help but be stunned. He stood to the side and quietly admired them. When the music ended and the dance stopped, Yi Chen came back to his senses and smiled. When Yi Chen was reborn, he didn't think he would have a beautiful wife one day. But now, not only did he have one, he would soon have a fourth. Yi Chen's laughter attracted the attention of Kai Yan, Diaochan, Zhao Yu, and Mi Zhen. The four of them looked over and called out in unison, Husband, General. Kai Yan, Diaochan, and Zhao Yu didn't care, but Mi Zhen's face was red. She was still unmarried. It was obviously inappropriate for her to stay at Yi Chen's place in the middle of the night. General, I'll return to the inn first. Mi Zhen bowed and said with a red face. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile and said, It's too late. You can rest here. Mi Zhen was stunned. Zizhong has already promised to betroth you to me. Don't worry, no one will say anything. Yi Chen smiled and said. Hearing this, Mi Zhen's eyes suddenly widened, and then he shouted even louder. Little sister, congratulations, congratulations. Zhao Yu looked at Mi Zhen and said with a smile. That's great. Now little sister can be with us forever. Diaochan said with a smile. Little sister, congratulations. You finally got what you wanted. Kai Yin covered his mouth and smiled. When Mi Zhen heard this, she immediately felt extremely embarrassed and hurriedly lowered her head. Ding, congratulations to player Yi Chen. Mi Zhen wants to recognize you as her master. Will you accept? When the system notification appeared, Yi Chen didn't hesitate to accept. Ding, congratulations to player Yi Chen. You have obtained the loyalty of a super-class historical beauty, Mi Zhen. Ding. Mi Zhen's loyalty plus 100. Evolved to die loyal. Ding. Mi Zhen's favorability plus 200. Evolved to intimate. When the system notification ended, the world announcement appeared. Ding, congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of a super-class historical beauty, Mi Zhen. Player Yi Chen's reputation plus 5 million, 10 million gold. When the world announcement of Mi Zhen's loyalty to Yi Chen appeared, the world channel went crazy. Damn. Damn. Damn Yi Chen. I knew it. Mi Zhen would be eaten by you after you took Mi Zhu. Damn. There's no justice in this world. Yi Chen, you can't do this. There are only so many beauties and they're all yours. Are we just going to stand by and watch? Damn. How many is that? There were 3 of them now. There are only so many super-class historical beauties. If Yi Chen takes all of them, what are we going to do? Damn brothers. There are still so many super-class historical beauties. We can't give Yi Chen any chance. Let's work harder. Let's get the rest. Ha ha ha, boss Yi Chen is the best. Did you see that? It hasn't been that long and he's already gotten 3 super-class historical beauties. You guys can't even get a 3rd-class historical beauty, and you're still bragging. You bastard, what did Yi Chen give you to make you brag about Yi Chen? Damn. I wanted to, but boss Yi Chen didn't even bother with me. In my opinion, it's better if all the super-class historical beauties are taken by Yi Chen. Damn, let's tire him out. Let's make him die from exhaustion. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 214. The World Channel was very lively, but Yi Chen didn't care. He wasn't angry even when he saw Yi Chen's comment. However, that comment reminded Yi Chen of something. A woman was a hero's grave. He just needed to take it in moderation. He had just started his journey as an emperor. It wasn't time to enjoy it yet. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but smile. He then looked at Kai Yen and said, "I'll sleep at your place tonight?" "Okay." Kai Yen trembled at Yi Chen's words. She lowered her head and replied softly. Kai Yen wasn't afraid. She just felt nervous when she thought about Yi Chen's intentions. Of course, there was also joy and anticipation. The next day, Yi Chen looked at Kai Yen in his arms and smiled. He got dressed and left the city lord's manor. After meeting with Mi Zhu, Yi Chen gave Mi Zhu full control of the 100 Flowers wine in Samsara City. Then, he went straight to Ping City. Guojia had recovered from his injuries and could attack Wuhuan at any time. The longer this matter dragged on, the easier it would be for Wuhuan to learn that Ping City had been breached and that Zhang Chun had been killed. Once Wuhuan learned of this, based on Qiu Liju's behavior, he would most likely surrender. Yi Chen didn't want to give Qiu Liju the chance to surrender. If he did, Yi Chen wouldn't be able to reap any benefits. Of course, if he wanted to attack Wuhuan immediately, there was another condition. The imperial court had to send an official to Ping City. Otherwise, the moment Yi Chen left, Ping City would be robbed by players. This would affect Yi Chen's reputation. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't care about this. Ping City, City Lord's Manor. As soon as Yi Chen arrived, he saw Zhao Yun, Guojia, and Zhao Meng waiting for him. When they saw Yi Chen, Zhao Yun, Guojia, and Zhao Meng stood up and bowed. "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen smiled and nodded. He looked at Guojia and asked, "Fengxiao, is everything ready?" Guojia nodded and bowed. "My lord, 110,000 soldiers are waiting for you at the northern gate. You can attack Wuhuan at any time." "The imperial court has already sent an official?" Yi Chen smiled and asked. "Yes, my lord. Those officials are already in the yamen. Would you like to meet them?" Guojia nodded and asked. "There's nothing to see." Before Yi Chen could finish his words, a soldier ran over. "Lord. My lord, Chi Commandant Gong Sun Zan requests an audience." "Gong Sun Zan?" Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes narrowed and he said, "Call him in." "Yes, my lord." "Yes, my lord." The soldier bowed and left the hall. Guojia looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "My lord, I heard that Gong Sun Zan is brave and resourceful. He has an imperial edict to quell the rebellion. I'm afraid he's here to attack Wuhuan with us. Fengxiao, do you think it's better to allow him to follow you or to reject him?" Yi Chen could not help but smile when he heard this. My lord, you shouldn't refuse him. Guojia bowed. Yi Chen nodded and looked at the door. A man wearing armor with a long sword at his waist walked over with a majestic gait. This was Gongsun Zan, according to history. He would soon become the lord of Yuzhou. However, Yuzhou could only have one lord, just like the rest of the world. It all depended on what he chose. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. This humble general, Gongsun Zan, greets General Pacifying North. Gongsun Zan arrived in front of Yi Chen and glanced at Yi Chen, Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia before kneeling on one knee. Brother Gongsun, what brings you here? Yi Chen asked with a smile. Gongsun Zan was taken aback by how Yi Chen addressed him. He didn't expect Yi Chen to address him in such an intimate manner. Gongsun Zan bowed and said, General, this humble general earnestly requests that you take this humble general with you when you attack Wuhan. Sure. Is there anything else? Brother Gongsun? Yi Chen nodded and asked. Gongsun Zan was taken aback again and asked, No. May I ask when the general will set off so that this humble general can make preparations? Yi Chen smiled and said, Right away. This humble general will make preparations right away. Gongsun Zan hurriedly bowed and left the city lord's mansion in a hurry. My lord, Gongsun Zan really wants to follow you on the northern expedition to Wuhan. Once we flatten Wuhan, he will definitely get a share of the military merit. If he is ambitious, I'm afraid he will become your enemy in the future. Guojia frowned and said after Gongsun Zan left, It doesn't matter if he is ambitious. I'm just worried that he isn't. Want military merit? Let's see if he has the ability to do so. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and said, My lord, this humble general is willing to be the vanguard. Zhao Yun's eyes lit up and he bowed. Ha ha, Zilong is too kind. However, this time, it will be a little different. I plan to use one-wave rush. Yi Chen laughed and said, My lord, what is one-wave rush? Zhao Meng asked after a moment of shock. It's very simple. The entire army will attack and win in one battle. Yi Chen smiled and said, My lord, I'm afraid that Gongsun Zan will be conflicted. Guojia's eyes lit up and he said, It doesn't matter. After all, he is not one of my people. Let him be. If he wants military merit, sure. As long as he can take it from me. Yi Chen laughed and said, My lord, the auspicious hour has arrived. Guojia looked up at the sky and bowed. When Yi Chen heard this, he instantly smiled and shouted, Let's go. Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia bowed and followed Yi Chen out of the city lord's mansion and to the north gate. Right north of Ping City, north of the city gate. Banners fluttered in the wind and spears formed a forest. As soon as Yi Chen arrived, the 110,000 Samsara soldiers knelt on one knee and said loudly, Greetings, my lord. Da-da-da-da. At this moment, Gongsun Zan arrived with 3,000 cavalry. When he saw the 110,000 cavalry of the Samsara Legion, he was stunned. He did not expect that Yi Chen would only bring cavalry. There was not a single infantry. Moreover, the equipment of the Samsara soldiers was ridiculously good. They were all silver equipment. As for Gongsun Zan's 3,000 elite cavalry, although they were also silver equipment, they only had 2 pieces. The Samsara soldiers had 3 pieces, and none of them had 3 pieces. Yi Chen looked at the shocked Gongsun Zan and waved his right hand. The God-Slayer appeared and he pointed to the north. Move out. Chapter 2:15. Yes, sir. The 110,000 Samsara soldiers replied in unison as they mounted their horses. Rumble! The earth trembled as the horses galloped. The 110,000 cavalrymen of the Samsara Legion charged toward the territory of the Wuhuan tribe in the north with an unstoppable momentum. Let's go. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia and said. After saying that, he squeezed his horse's belly and urged it forward. Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia followed closely behind. Gongsun Zan only recovered from his shock at this moment. He turned his head to look at his 3,000 elite cavalry and then at the Samsara cavalry. His mouth twitched involuntarily. "Follow General Ping Bei," Gongsun Zan shouted after a moment of silence. "Yes, sir," the 3,000 elite cavalry replied in unison. However, there was a trace of disappointment in their voices. They were elites, the elite cavalry of the great Han Empire. They had followed Gongsun Zan to quell the rebellion and were proud of their equipment. But look at the reincarnation cavalry. Their equipment wasn't any worse than theirs. Not only were they not worse, they even had an extra silver-grade weapon. Before they left the city, they were all extremely proud. They thought that they would be valued by Yi Chen and put in an important position. However, now they were all shocked. Rumble! Gongsun Zan and his 3,000 cavalry followed behind Yi Chen and left. Not long after Yi Chen left, a loud roar could be heard. Motherf **Ker Yi Chen finally left. Quick! Charge into Ping City and grab the good stuff. Ha ha, charge! Grab all the equipment and beauties. Hua! A large group of players emerged from their hiding spots. Their eyes lit up as they charged towards Ping City. However, at this moment, a group of soldiers walked out of the city and stood guard at the city gate. The charging players were all stunned and stopped at the same time. Damn! What's going on? Yi Chen left behind soldiers to guard the place before he left? **CK, that bastard Yi Chen is determined to go against us. **CK. No, look, these soldiers are the same as those guarding the gates of other cities. **CK. Did Lu Hong send someone to take over Ping City? That must be the case. Motherf **Ker, this is too **Ket up. Doesn't the Imperial Court take at least 3 days to send an official over? Why is it so fast this time? It must be because of Yi Chen. Otherwise, how could it be so fast? Why do I feel that Yi Chen won't leave until the Imperial Court sends an official over? Just as the players who wanted to rob Yubei Ping City were discussing, a message appeared on the World Channel. Do you want to know where Yi Chen went? Let me tell you, Yi Chen is heading north from Pingqing. He must be on a northern expedition. There are Wuhuan and Xianbei tribes there. If you want to take revenge or take advantage of the situation, hurry up. After a short period of silence, the World Channel became lively again. Fuck. Boss Yi Chen just conquered Ping City, and he's going to attack Wuhan? How **King awesome is that? If I had cavalry, I would dare to go too. But I don't **King have any. Speaking of which, what are the benefits of conquering the other tribes? Benefits? That's not a benefit, it's a pie. Damn, conquering the other tribes is a large-scale mission. The benefits are huge. If you win, the rewards will be generous. If you can destroy the other tribes, the rewards will be doubled. This is the reward for destroying an entire tribe. If Yi Chen not only defeats the Wuhuan, but also the Xianbei and Xiongnu tribes, the rewards will be unimaginable. Fuck, there's such a thing? Why didn't I know about it? Fuck, you're not in Yuzhou. What do you know? Anyway, I'm going to the Wuhuan. Let's see if I can get any benefits. If Boss Yi Chen agrees to fight the Wuhuan with him, that'll be even better. Damn, the Wuhuan is quite powerful. Xianbei and Xiongnu are even more ferocious. Can Yi Chen defeat them? It doesn't matter if he can defeat them or not. The point is, as long as he kills 100 soldiers of the other tribes, he can exchange them for a piece of gold equipment. If he kills a small group leader, he can also get a piece of gold equipment, and that's not including the equipment that will be dropped. If he kills enough, he can even exchange for diamond equipment, yellow, mystic, and even heaven equipment. Damn. Boss Yi Chen. Please take me with you. Boss Yi Chen. Wait for me. Take me with you. I'll help Boss Yi Chen kill monsters for free. While the players were having a heated discussion, the teleportation portal at Ping City lit up and never stopped. A large number of players rushed to Yu Beiping Chen, and then hurriedly rushed towards the north. Rumble! Tens of thousands of horses galloped and the earth shook. Yi Chen, who was galloping on his horse, squinted his eyes when he saw the content on the World Channel. What the players said was true. The punitive expedition against the other tribes was indeed a large-scale mission with generous rewards. However, there had not been many players who had the ability to conquer the other tribes, so most of the players were envious but did not dare to take action. Every member of the other tribes was a soldier. If they rashly went up, they would most likely die. One death would cause them to lose 10 levels. If they died once, they would have to work hard to level up for half a month or even longer. Therefore, not many players took on this mission. Of course, there were still players who dared to take the risk, but it was difficult to succeed. Now that Yi Chen had gone, when the players heard the news, they were like cats that had smelled blood and rushed over in groups. To Yi Chen, there was no way he could stop such a situation. Take the Wuhuan tribes for example. They were divided into countless groups and did not live together. Yi Chen could not wipe out all the Wuhuan tribes at once. Of course, if the players took the initiative to attack the Wuhuan soldiers, Yi Chen would not care. That was the players' freedom. However, if they followed and used Yi Chen's soldiers as meat shields to take advantage of the situation, that was not something that Yi Chen wanted to see. Yi Chen also valued the rewards of large-scale missions. If they were accumulated, they could be exchanged for a batch of good equipment for his generals. If they were envious of the benefits and wanted to take advantage of the situation, they would have to see if they had the ability. Thinking of this, Yi Chen coldly smiled and then shouted, "What? Pass down the order. Speed up. No matter who it is, kill anyone who approaches without permission." "Yes, my lord. My lord." When the messenger heard this, he hurriedly responded and ran off to relay Yi Chen's orders. "My lord, are there any players who want to cause trouble?" Guojia was slightly taken aback and asked. "There are some who want to cause trouble and some who want to take advantage of the situation," Yi Chen nodded and said. "My lord, since the players are coming, why not make use of them?" Guojia smiled and said. Chapter 216. Yi Chen understood what Guojia meant. Guojia wanted to use the players as the vanguard. This way, the Samsara soldiers could easily break through Wuhuan. Thinking of this, Yi Chen smiled and said, "There's no need for that. They're a double-edged sword. They're not easy to control. Moreover, it's just Wuhuan. They won't be able to stop the Samsara army." The players were indeed difficult to control. Because of their temperament, no one was willing to listen to someone else's orders. This was the case before the meteor fell, and it was still the case after the meteor fell. If he didn't give them enough benefits, no one would listen to Yi Chen's orders. Even if he gave them benefits, the players wouldn't work for Yi Chen wholeheartedly. Yi Chen was well aware of this. Therefore, from the beginning to the end, he had never thought of relying on players to achieve his goals. "My lord, you're right." Guojia was taken aback for a moment and then smiled. "We should speed up," Yi Chen smiled and said. After saying that, he urged his horse to speed up. Guojia, Zhao Yun, and Zhao Meng followed closely behind, followed by Gongsun Zan and his entourage. The next day, Yi Chen led 110,000 Samsara soldiers and set foot on the grassland. The grassland was vast and boundless. The 110,000 soldiers galloped forward, but they didn't see anyone for a long time. If it were anyone else, they would most likely turn back. However, Yi Chen didn't care at all, because this was the inevitable result. The population of the foreign races was much smaller. This place was vast and sparsely populated. It would be strange if it was so easy to find people. An hour later, a scout arrived in front of Yi Chen. He dismounted from his horse and knelt down on one knee. Then, he said, "My lord, there's a small settlement 15 miles ahead. It has a population of about 20,000. Yi Chen immediately looked at Zhao Meng and said, Zhao Meng, finish the battle. Zhao Meng, finish the battle in the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Clean up the battlefield while you're at it. Discard anything below silver rank, take away the war horses, and slaughter the cows and sheep. Yes, my lord. Zhao Meng's eyes lit up when he heard this. He bowed and replied. Then, he led his troops and charged toward the small settlement. It didn't take long for the sounds of battle to ring out, followed by miserable howls, screams, and angry roars. After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the battle cries stopped abruptly. Not long after, Zhao Meng returned with his troops. When Yi Chen saw this, he smiled and shouted, "Let's move on." The 110,000 reincarnation cavalry set off again, leaving behind a ground full of corpses. The smell of blood began to spread across the grassland. After the time for half an incense stick to burn had passed, a rumbling sound came from the ground. Rumble! It was Gong Sun Zan who had arrived with 3,000 elite cavalry. When he saw the corpses of the Wuhuan people in the small settlement, he was stunned. "That's too fast," Gong Sun Zan said in a daze. Then, he shouted, "Speed up! Catch up with General Ping Bei!" Rumble! Gong Sun Zan chased after them with 3,000 cavalrymen. However, Gong Sun Zan didn't expect that everywhere he went, he would see the corpses of the Wuhuan people, cattle, and sheep. There were no war horses, and the garbage on the battlefield had been casually thrown away. It was the same in the small settlements, the medium-sized settlements, and the large settlement. As time passed, Gong Sun Zan and his men were exhausted. Their morale had dropped from high at the beginning to low. In Gong Sun Zan's opinion, this was too ridiculous. He came here to conquer the alien tribes, but it turned out that he was just having fun. From the beginning until now, he hadn't drawn his bow even once. He hadn't killed a single alien. All he saw were corpses. When night fell, Gong Sun Zan once again came to a large settlement. When he saw the cold corpses on the ground, Gong Sun Zan fell silent. Gong Sun Zan's deputy said with a conflicted expression, General Ping Bei is too fierce. General Ping Bei is too ferocious. It's fine if it's just a small settlement, but a medium settlement has 50,000 to 100,000 people. A large settlement has even more, with 100,000 to 200,000 people. But wherever we go, there are corpses everywhere. How many settlements are there? Just the large settlements alone, there are no less than 5. Yes, General. If this goes on, we won't be able to do anything, an elite cavalryman said with a pained expression. I'm afraid that this matter will spread. If it does, we'll be embarrassed. We're the elite cavalrymen of the great Han Empire, one of them said gloomily. Phew! Gong Sun Zan let out a long breath and then shouted, Continue the chase. If we go any further, there will be large settlements of the Wuhuan people. We should be able to catch up. Yes, General. When the 3,000 elite cavalrymen heard this, their eyes lit up and they shouted excitedly. At the same time, the World Channel, which had been quiet for a day, suddenly became lively. F***CK. We're finally on the grassland. Damn it, why are there wolves everywhere? Haha, let me tell you why there are wolves everywhere. It's because there are corpses everywhere. The corpses of the Wuhuan people, the corpses of the cows and sheep. Hee, so you've also found the Wuhuan settlement that Boss Yi Chen flattened. F***CK. Shut up and don't say it. Boss Yi Chen is too awesome. In just one day, who knows how many settlements of the Wuhuan people he has flattened. I'm tired of picking up equipment. Bastard. Who told you to say it? F***CK. Are you stupid? Why didn't you say it? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Why did you chase me away? Do you think I won't be able to find a new Wuhuan settlement? Let me tell you, not only did I find a new settlement, but I also found a large settlement. I picked up all the equipment here alone. F***CK. F***ck. What did I see? Boss Yi Chun conquered the Wuhuan settlement and didn't ask for any equipment? It's not that he didn't ask for any equipment below silver. But that's fine too. F***ck. I had black iron equipment before, but now I have a full set of bronze equipment. Ha ha. I see silver equipment. Ha 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 ha. F***ck. Who can tell me where you are? This grassland is too big. I'm lost. F***ck off. You deserve to be lost. Let me tell you, who told you to come and snatch the good stuff from me? Rumble. Tens of thousands of horses galloped and the earth shook. The cavalry of Samsara went from 1 person to 3, and their speed didn't decrease at all. Behind them, the tired Gongsun Zan was getting further and further away from Yi Chun. My lord, let's conquer the next camp. The soldiers should rest. Guojia followed Yi Chun on his horse. He glanced at the tired soldiers of Samsara, then looked at Yi Chun and bowed. Chapter 217. Yi Chun glanced at the Samsara soldiers and said, Wuhuan Mountain is not far away. Let's rest there tonight. My lord, are you going to attack Wuhuan Mountain at night? Guojia was stunned for a moment. That's right, Yi Chun said with certainty. My lord, the soldiers are exhausted. Wuhuan Mountain is where the royal court of the Wuhuan tribe is located. It's a strategic location. If we attack, Guojia said hurriedly. He stopped abruptly and looked at the Samsara Legion. In the next second, Guojia couldn't help but sigh. He then bowed and said, My lord, not only did I not contribute to the northern expedition, I also almost obstructed you. Please forgive me, my lord. Fengshao, it's not good to belittle yourself. If not for the Wuhuan tribe being so weak and the bravery of the Samsara soldiers, you would have had your hands full. Yi Chun glared at Guojia. At this moment, a scout rode in to report. My lord, we've discovered a settlement of giant Wuhuan 10 miles ahead. There are about 1 million of them. When Yi Chun heard this, his eyes immediately narrowed. Then, he looked at the messenger and shouted, Pass the order. Everyone, attack. Yes, my lord. My lord. The messenger replied loudly, then rode his horse to pass on Yi Chun's order. Yi Chun waved his right hand and the Godslayer appeared. He squeezed the horse's belly and charged toward the settlement. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng hurriedly followed. Previously, they had advised Yi Chun not to charge into the fray because Yi Chun was the lord. The two of them should be the ones to charge into the fray. However, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng gave up on this idea. They couldn't dissuade him and Yi Chun was too fierce. Whenever they encountered a large Wuhuan settlement, Yi Chun would be the first to charge in. He would lead the Samsara soldiers in a charge and then destroy the large settlement. Whether it was Zhao Yun or Zhao Meng, or the two of them, none of them could be as simple and violent as Yi Chun. Rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth shook. Yi Chun led the Samsara Legion toward the settlement of giant Wuhuan. The sound of the horses galloping on the ground was particularly eye-catching in the silent night. At the settlement of giant Wuhuan. Did you hear that? What's that sound? A patrolling Wuhuan soldier asked in confusion. Do we need to hear it? It's the sound of 10,000 horses galloping. Are you from the Wuhuan people? Can't you tell? Another patrolling Wuhuan soldier said disdainfully. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This sound seems to be the sound of cavalry charging. The Wuhuan soldier who spoke first shook his head. Cavalry charge? You mean the great Han Empire sent cavalry to attack us? Ha ha, are you trying to kill me? We're far away from the great Han Empire. How could there be cavalry from the great Han Empire here? A Wuhuan soldier said with an exaggerated smile. But this sound is truly the sound of charging cavalry. Even if it's cavalry charging, it's the warriors of our Wuhuan tribe. What's there to worry about? What's more, this is a giant settlement. How dare the great Han Empire's cavalry attack us? We can't kill them. That's right. Hurry up and finish your patrol. I want to go back and play with that girl. Tut, tut, Han women are so tender. It's so cool. You're so lucky. When I rob the great Han Empire again, I'll snatch a girl back. At this moment, the patrolling Wuhuan soldier, who had noticed the abnormality, narrowed his eyes. He pointed to the distance and shouted in surprise. Look, are those people wearing armor? As soon as he finished speaking, the patrolling Wuhuan soldiers all looked into the distance. They saw countless cavalry rushing towards them, and all of them had a trace of silver light on their bodies. Rumble! The sound of the war horses galloping on the ground became more and more urgent and louder. As they got closer and the starlight shone on them, the clothes of the cavalry became clearer. When the patrolling Wuhuan soldiers saw the charging cavalry, they were all stunned. This was because the charging cavalry was dressed like the great Han dynasty's cavalry with a single glance. This was the territory of the Wuhuan tribe, and it was far away from the great Han Empire. They were puzzled by the sudden appearance of the great Han Empire's cavalry. Damn it, what's going on? Where did so many horses come from? We're going to be rich this time. Damn it, there must be at least 300,000 warhorses. Hee, we have to catch all of them this time. Once we sell them, we can make a lot of money. One by one, the Wuhuan tribesmen walked out of their tents and looked in the direction of the rumbling sound. At this moment, a loud roar was heard. Shoot! Along with the roar, countless sounds of bows being drawn and arrows being knocked could be heard. The next second, whoosh, 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 the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. Enemy attack! Enemy! The patrolling Wuhuan soldiers came back to their senses and screamed. However, their words were cut off as soon as they started speaking. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of arrows hitting the body rang out one after another. The 10 patrolling Wuhuan soldiers were all shot like hedgehogs at this moment. They couldn't be more dead. The Wuhuan tribesmen who had walked out of the tent also fell to the ground in droves. Many of the Wuhuan people who had not come out of the tent also fell to the ground. The giant Wuhuan settlement was baptized by arrows in an instant, and there were countless casualties. Who the hell shot me with an arrow? My balls, ouch! Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The great Han cavalry is here! Miserable howls, screams, and angry roars could be heard from both inside and outside the tent of the Wuhuan giant camp. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After a short pause, 110,000 arrows were shot at the giant Wuhuan settlement again. The sound of arrows hitting human bodies could be heard again. Quick! Gather and prepare to meet the enemy. At this moment, a loud roar was heard. It was the leader of the giant settlement. He rushed out with a face full of shock and anger. He never thought that one day, he would be attacked by the great Han cavalry. After all, this place was very far from the great Han Empire. Moreover, ever since Lu Hong became the emperor, no cavalry of the great Han Empire had rushed here. But today, the great Han cavalry really came. Not only did they come, but they also started fighting. Not only did they stun his subordinates, but they also suffered heavy losses. If he did not come out, all his subordinates would be killed, and he would not have a good ending. This was because his subordinates were actually screaming in panic after being attacked. Some even turned around and ran. There were very few people who had the will to fight. Chapter 2:18. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The third wave of arrows descended upon the Wuhuan soldiers just as they were about to gather. Puff, puff, puff. Large numbers of Wuhuan soldiers were shot to death or disabled. Rumble. The earth trembled. The 110,000 Samsara cavalrymen followed Yi Chen and finally arrived at the Wuhuan giant settlement. Looking at the Wuhuan soldiers fleeing in panic in the settlement, Yi Chen raised the Godslayer in his right hand and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The 110,000 Samsara cavalrymen shouted in unison, and their murderous aura rushed to the panicked Wuhuan soldiers in an instant. At this time, Yi Chen squeezed the horse's belly with his feet, and the horse jumped up in an instant and then pounced on the panicked Wuhuan soldiers. In midair, Yi Chen, who was riding on the horse, waved the Godslayer in his right hand fiercely. Woo! The sound of something breaking through the air was heard instantly. Buzz! A chi blade immediately appeared and then cut into the crowd. Puff, puff! Hundreds of Wuhuan soldiers were cut in half in an instant. Broken limbs, half or whole heads, flew into the air with whooshing sound. Plop, plop. The bodies that were cut in half fell to the ground and then began to struggle and twitch. The blood that splashed everywhere also dyed the ground red in an instant. Stinky internal organs and intestines flowed everywhere with a walala sound. Bang! The horse landed and then galloped. Yi Chen's momentum was also released at this moment without reservation. Domineering, unreasonable, ferocious, and full of killing intent. Riding alone, the Wuhuan soldiers felt that the god of death was coming and that they were no match for him. Clatter, clatter. The horse galloped. Woo woo. The god slayer flew up and down, wantonly dancing up and down. Puff, puff. Countless sounds of bodies being sliced apart could be heard. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chen had single-handedly carved a huge hole in the Wuhuan gathering ground. Rumble. The 110,000 reincarnation cavalry also charged into the settlement. Their leaders were Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng. Any Wuhuan soldiers that appeared near them, whether they tried to escape or counterattack, were all killed without exception. At this moment, the spears in the hands of the Samsara cavalry began to mercilessly reap the lives of the Samsara cavalry. A single strike was enough to kill all of them. Ah, save me, don't kill me. I surrender. Spare me. My heart belongs to the great Han Empire. I don't want to die, spare me, spare me. The Wuhuan soldiers in the giant settlement collapsed in an instant. They cried and begged for mercy. However, the charging Samsara cavalry did not stop at all. They did not hesitate in the slightest because of the Wuhuan people's pleas. Rumble. The sound of iron hooves stomping on the ground was deafening. Yi Chen led the reincarnation cavalry and quickly cut the Wuhuan settlement into two halves. Wherever the army passed, blood and corpses were piled up. However, most of the corpses were smashed into pieces. 90% of the corpses of the Wuhuan soldiers were made by Yi Chen. The innate skill, Samsara spear art, was extremely domineering. At this moment it was extremely brutal. They would explode if they were grazed by Yi Chen, and crack if they were touched. None of the Wuhuan soldiers who were attacked by Yi Chen had a well-preserved corpse. After Yi Chen led the 110,000 reincarnation cavalry and rushed past the giant settlement, he immediately shouted, "Turn around and pierce through! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The deafening battle cries sounded again. Rumble. The 110,000 reincarnation cavalry followed closely behind Yi Chen and charged toward the Wuhuan settlement. Ding! Congratulations to the Samsara Legion for comprehending the army skill, Swift Wind. Ding! Congratulations to the Samsara Legion for comprehending the army skill, Steady Forest. Just at this moment, the system notification rang out. Yi Chen was slightly stunned before the corners of his mouth curled up. Damn it, the Samsara Legion finally comprehended two more army skills. Samsara Legion, one and only special army grade. S number of soldiers, 10,000 army battle formation, White Tiger battle formation, innate battle formation, army skills. Swift wind, steady forest, aggressive fire, immovable mountain. Swift wind. When the army moves, it is as fast as the wind. Steady forest. When the army moves slowly, it is orderly. Aggressive fire. When attacking the enemy, it is like a prairie fire, unstoppable. Immovable mountain. When the army is stationed, it is like a mountain, unshakable. Rumble. Yi Chen led the 110,000 reincarnation cavalry and increased their speed. When they arrived at the Wuhuan settlement, they waved their cold weapons at the Wuhuan soldiers again. Bang! 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 The fleeing Wuhuan soldiers were instantly sent flying into the air in droves. Miserable howls, screams, and cries rang out one after another. Damn it, fight back! Fight back! Retaliate! Furious roars rang out one after another from all directions. The Wuhuan generals, who had recovered from their daze, roared angrily. They wanted to gather their subordinates to fight back, but the Wuhuan soldiers in the settlement had already lost their morale and were not in the mood to resist the reincarnation cavalry. Even if there were people who wanted to resist, when they saw the incomparably tyrannical Yi Chen, they immediately turned into fear. After that, they turned around and fled. Yi Chen was too brutal. No one could stop Yi Chen, and no one could take a blow from Yi Chen. The thick and black god-slaying spear, after a single spear strike, at least 5 or 6 people, and at most a dozen people, all of their bodies exploded into pieces. Blood and internal organs splattered everywhere. The Wuhuan soldiers were terrified of such a human-shaped beast and did not dare to step forward. Attack together! Kill the leader of the Han soldiers! Kill him, and these Han Dynasty cavalrymen will not be so rampant. A loud roar suddenly rang out. It was a middle-aged man who shouted. From his clothes, it was not difficult to tell that he was the leader of the Wuhuan giant settlement. Kill him! Kill! Shouts of killing immediately rang out. Then, 30 Wuhuan generals followed the leader of the Wuhuan army and led their personal guards to charge toward Yi Chen. There were tens of thousands of them, and each of them looked ferocious. As they charged, they howled and cheered for themselves. In their view, Yi Chen, who led the Samsara Legion, was the most important person. Without Yi Chen's brutal killing, the Wuhuan soldiers would not be so afraid. They could see that Yi Chen was powerful and domineering, but they did not think that Yi Chen could fight a group of them alone. Therefore, they wanted to attack together and kill Yi Chen. As long as they killed Yi Chen, they could pacify their subordinates and then organize them to fight against the great Han Empire's cavalry. Only in this way could they ensure that they would not be wiped out. Looking at the Wuhuan generals and their personal guards charging toward him, Yi Chen smiled coldly. He raised the Godslayer at an angle and then squeezed the horse's belly with his feet. Nay, the warhorse seemed to have heard Yi Chen's order. It immediately stomped on the ground and then jumped up. Chapter 219. My lord! Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia, who were following behind Yi Chen, were shocked and shouted in unison. They didn't expect Yi Chen to fight against the 30 Wuhuan generals and their personal guards. Although Yi Chen had the Xunshao thunder defense technique, he definitely couldn't use it in this world. Because in this world, Yi Chen's primordial spirit was sealed and forbidden to be used. If he couldn't use the Xunshao thunder defense technique, he couldn't kill the 30 Wuhuan generals instantly. Then Yi Chen would be in danger. Among the 30 Wuhuan generals, 28 were Emperor-level generals and 2 Emperor-level generals. They were definitely not weak. Of course, this was the opinion of Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng, and Guojia, so the 3 of them turned pale with fright. In midair, Yi Chen rode on his warhorse and glanced at the Wuhuan generals and their personal guards who were madly charging in front of him. Then he smiled coldly. At this moment, the Godslayer was also raised high. Boom! A ball of flames suddenly appeared and attached itself to the Godslayer. The thick and dark Godslayer was instantly surrounded by flames. However, Yi Chen's body was not burned at all by the flames. The scorching flames were like a bright lamp in the dark night, dazzling everyone. That's... Zhao Yun was stunned when he saw the change in Yi Chen's Godslayer. Zilong! Charge! Save the Lord! Although Zhao Meng was also stunned for a moment, he immediately reacted and roared. Don't go over! Guojia looked at Yi Chen, who was about to land, and said with shining eyes. At this moment, Yi Chen raised the god-slaying spear, which was surrounded by raging flames, and swung it forward. Hum! A flaming blade suddenly appeared and slashed at the 30 Wuhuan generals who were charging at the front. Oh no! Hide! The leader of the Wuhuan tribe shouted in shock. The fact that Yi Chen could control flames had already shocked him greatly. When the flames turned into blades of fire and fiercely slashed at them, the Wuhuan leader's soul suddenly felt the arrival of death. That feeling made his scalp go numb and his heart stop. Therefore, he shouted out loud. In fact, there was no need for him to remind them. All the Wuhuan generals who had rushed over had sensed the arrival of death. This was something they had never encountered in their entire life. At the same time, each of them made a move to dodge. At the same time, each of them circulated the true qi in their bodies to avoid the threat of death. However, the fire blade's speed was extremely fast. It arrived in front of them in the blink of an eye. Sizzle, sizzle, dozens of sounds rang out. The expressions of the 30 Wuhuan generals, from the martial monarch level to the martial emperor level, froze instantly. Then, their upper bodies were separated from their bodies as the war horses charged forward. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions rang out. The 30 Wuhuan generals' corpses, which had been cut in half, instantly burst into flames along with their horses. Sigh! The war horses' miserable cries also rang out at this time. At this moment, there was a loud boom. The fire blade that had cut through the 30 Wuhuan generals suddenly exploded and turned into a raging inferno that engulfed the tens of thousands of Wuhuan generals' personal guards. Ah, roar, sizzle! The Wuhuan generals' personal guards began to howl miserably. Their war horses neighed mournfully. Tens of thousands of surging flames instantly appeared in the Wuhuan settlement. Bang! Yi Chen landed heavily on his warhorse. Plop, plop. A series of collapsing sounds rang out. The Wuhuan generals' personal guards and their warhorses, who had been burned by the flames, fell to the ground in an instant. Then they stopped breathing. My lord is so strong. Seeing this, Zhao Yun suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air, and then shouted with his eyes shining. My lord is invincible in the world. Zhao Meng regained his senses and roared excitedly. Ha ha, my lord is brave and unparalleled in the world. Guojiao laughed wildly at this time. My lord is victorious. 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 The 110,000 Samsara cavalrymen, who were still charging, shouted in unison. At this moment, all of Yi Chen's subordinates were excited, agitated, and proud. Because their lord, Yi Chen, had killed 30 Wuhuan generals and tens of thousands of personal guards with one strike. This kind of bravery was rare in the world. However, at this moment their lord, Yi Chen, had used it, and it had even succeeded. Is he still human? A Wuhuan soldier trembled after seeing Yi Chen's attack. His eyes were filled with horror as he screamed. I don't want to die. I want to go to Wuhuan Mountain. Boo-hoo! I want to go to Wuhuan Mountain! Someone cried in horror. In the Wuhuan settlement, all of them were scared silly after seeing Yi Chen kill all of their leaders and tens of thousands of personal guards with one strike. At this moment, Yi Chen's domineering figure, his unparalleled strength, and his cruel and merciless killing intent were deeply imprinted in the hearts of all the Wuhuan soldiers in the settlement. They were panic-stricken, frightened, and frightened. They had no courage to resist at all. Escape, escape with all their might, was the only thought left in all the Wuhuan soldiers' minds. At this moment, there were still 500,000 Wuhuan soldiers in the Wuhuan settlement. However, it was precisely these 500,000 people that were scared witless by Yi Chen alone. Thus, they began to flee for their lives. Clip-clop, clip-clop, clip-clop. Yi Chen was still charging on his warhorse. Seeing the countless fleeing Wuhuan soldiers, he coldly smiled and yelled, "What are you waiting for? Kill!" After shouting, Yi Chen's legs clamped down on the horse's belly and he spurred it forward again. Kill! 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 The heaven-shaking battle cries rang out from the mouths of the 110,000 Samsara cavalrymen. Rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth trembled. The Samsara cavalrymen's high fighting spirit rose again and again, and the suffocating killing intent rose steadily. Bang, bang, bang. Countless bodies were sent flying. Every Wuhuan soldier who appeared in the path of the Samsara cavalryman's charge was sent flying high into the air without exception. Then they fell heavily to the ground and were trampled into meat paste by the galloping warhorses. After 10 minutes, the Samsara cavalryman finished another charge. Wherever the Samsara cavalryman passed, the earth was dyed red. On the ground there were countless severed limbs, as well as innumerable pieces of flesh. The strong smell of blood began to spread and spread. Miserable howls, screams, and pleas for mercy could be heard everywhere. Yi Chen turned his horse around, looked at Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng, and shouted, "Zhao Yun, Zhao Meng? We are here!" Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng bowed in unison and replied loudly. "Each of you lead 50,000 soldiers and kill the fleeing Wuhuan soldiers. Leave none alive." Yi Chen's eyes widened and he shouted. Chapter 220. Yes, sir. Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng replied in unison. Then, they each led 50,000 Samsara cavalrymen and charged toward the fleeing Wuhuan soldiers. "Spare my life, General! I surrender! I surrender! Don't kill me! Don't kill me!" The cries of the Wuhuan soldiers rose and fell one after another. However, the Samsara cavalrymen did not show any mercy. This was because their lord, Yi Chen, had ordered that none of them should be spared. Time passed little by little. When the battle cries died down, Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng returned with their troop. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for conquering the Wuhuan settlement. Additional reward: 30 million reputation points and 30 million merit points. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows when he heard the system notification. These notifications had not stopped since the beginning. His reputation and merit points increased extremely quickly, and they had long since doubled. This was one of the benefits of attacking the foreign races. "My lord, the Wuhuan soldiers have all been killed." Zhao Yun and Zhao Meng bowed and reported. "Very good." Yi Chen nodded in satisfaction. Then, he looked at the messenger and shouted, "Clean up the battlefield! Clean up the battlefield!" "Yes, my lord! My lord!" When the messenger heard this, he hurriedly bowed and responded. Then, he ran off to pass on Yi Chen's order. At this moment, Guojia rode up to Yi Chen's side and bowed with a smile. "Congratulations, my lord. It won't be long before we flatten Wuhuan Mountain." "Ha ha, it won't be too late to congratulate you when we flatten Wuhuan Mountain," Yi Chen laughed and said. "My lord, you can definitely do it. However, my lord, how do you plan to deal with Gongsun Zan?" Guojiao asked with a smile. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and said, "Let's see what he chooses. A forcibly picked melon will not be sweet." "My lord, do you intend to subdue Gongsun Zan?" Guojiao asked. "This person has the heart of an ambitious person. It will be difficult to subdue him." Yi Chen sighed and said. "Jia is relieved that my lord can see this," Guojia said with a smile when he heard this. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but be stunned. He then glared at Guojia and said, "We still have to try. Let's see what he chooses in the end." Guojia nodded with a smile and said, "My lord is the best choice. If Gongsun Zan can see it clearly, he will know what to choose. The human heart is the hardest to fathom, especially those who are ambitious and ambitious." Yi Chen sighed and said. At this moment, a messenger rode over on a horse and bowed. "My lord, the battlefield has been cleaned up." When Yi Chen heard this, he nodded in satisfaction and shouted, "Pass down the order. Let's march to Wuhuan Mountain." "Yes, my lord," the messenger replied loudly before running off to relay Yi Chen's orders. After 10 minutes, the war horses galloped and the sound of iron hooves stomping on the ground rang out again. Yi Chen led the Samsara cavalry straight to Wuhuan Mountain, where the royal court of the Wuhuan tribe was located. 2 hours later, Gongsun Zan arrived with 3,000 elite cavalrymen. Gongsun Zan's eyes narrowed when he saw that the Wuhuan tribe had been completely wiped out. How is this possible? This is the Wuhuan tribe with at least 1,000,000 people. How can it be flattened in such a short time? An elite cavalryman suddenly shouted in shock. Yes, the Wuhuan tribe is full of soldiers and their individual strength is extremely strong. How can it be wiped out in such a short time? This is a tribe with a population of 1,000,000 people. This shouldn't be. General Ping Bei only brought 110,000 cavalrymen. Even if General Ping Bei killed 1,000,000 people here, he wouldn't be able to do it so quickly. But this is the result. The Wuhuan tribe has really been flattened. The 3,000 elite cavalrymen discussed this matter one after another. Gongsun Zan's expression changed again and again. How could he be so strong? Gongsun Zan's eyes were full of doubts. He had no idea how Yi Chun had done it. In one day Yi Chun had flattened all the Wuhuan tribe's settlements. Now, he had even flattened a giant tribe. Gongsun Zan's expression turned even uglier when he thought of this. He had wanted to gain some military merits, but now it seemed that this idea was too naive. With Yi Chun leading the troops in front, he would not be able to gain any military merit. General, what should we do? General Ping Bei didn't wait for us at all. An elite cavalryman looked at Gongsun Zan and asked, "It's already so late. Why did General Ping Bei leave?" Another elite cavalryman asked, "Is he going to attack Wuhuan Mountain? That's where the royal court of the Wuhuan tribe is located." An elite cavalryman suddenly thought of something and shouted, "How is that possible? General Ping Bei can't attack Wuhuan Mountain at night. He has been leading the troops for a whole day. How tired must those cavalrymen be? Even we would be exhausted if we were to chase after General Ping Bei on horseback, let alone the cavalrymen of Samsara City." One of the cavalrymen said in disbelief, "Then where did General Ping Bei go?" One of the cavalrymen asked in confusion. Gongsun Zan's expression changed drastically when he heard this. He then shouted, "Speed up! Target Wuhuan Mountain!" "General, we can't." Gongsun Zan's deputy hurriedly shouted, "We can't wait any longer. General Ping Bei has already gone to Wuhuan Mountain. If we can't catch up with him, our trip this time will be in vain." Gongsun Zan's face darkened and he said, "But General, our men and horses are already exhausted. We can't continue to chase after General Ping Bei." The deputy hurriedly explained. Gongsun Zan was silent for a moment when he heard this. He then said, "If we want to make a name for ourselves, we have to give it our all. If we don't, we will definitely become a laughingstock." "But General," the deputy tried to persuade him again. "No buts," Gongsun Zan shouted in a deep voice. He then looked at the 3,000 cavalrymen and said, "Do you want to make a name for yourselves or be laughed at? Make a name for ourselves." The 3,000 cavalrymen shouted loudly when they heard this. "Very good. General Ping Bei has already gone to attack the palace of the Wuhuan tribe in Wuhuan Mountain. If you want to make a name for yourselves, you have to buck up and follow me to Wuhuan Mountain as soon as possible." Gongsun Zan nodded in satisfaction and then shouted, "Yes, General." The 3,000 cavalrymen replied in unison. At this moment, the 3,000 cavalrymen all saw the light of hope. Wuhuan Mountain was where the palace of the Wuhuan tribe was located. It was heavily guarded and had many soldiers. In their opinion, if Yi Chun really attacked the palace of the Wuhuan tribe overnight, it would be impossible for him to trample over everything as easily as he did now. That was because it was built on the side of the mountain and the terrain was dangerous. Not everyone could fight their way up there. Therefore, this was their last chance to catch up with Yi Chun and make a name for themselves. Chapter 221. Wuhuan Mountain, 10 miles to the south. Rumble! Yi Chun arrived with 110,000 cavalrymen. Looking at the moonlit Wuhuan Mountain in the distance, Yi Chun raised his right hand and said, "Pass down my order, all troops slow down." "Yes." My lord. The messenger replied loudly and rode off to convey Yi Chen's order. Before long, the galloping Samsara army began to move forward slowly. Yi Chen's purpose was very simple. He wanted to prevent the sound of the galloping horses from reaching Wuhuan Mountain. My lord, we still need to send at least 100 men to kill all the Wuhuan spies, Guojia said with a bow as he rode up to Yi Chen. My lord. I'm willing to go, Zhao Meng hurriedly said. Okay, be careful. Don't let anyone know about this. Hearing this, Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng and nodded. Yes, my lord. Zhao Meng replied solemnly. Then, he led 100 Samsara army soldiers to Wuhuan Mountain. My lord, now that we've conquered Wuhuan Mountain, the northern expedition has come to an end. After we get all the rewards, should we continue the northern expedition to Xianbei? Guojia asked with a smile as he looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen laughed and said, Of course we have to go. Before they get the news, we'll go straight to Xianbei and flatten it, lest they go to His Majesty and beg for surrender. Then, we'll lose the chance to train our troops and gain some benefit. We can't come here for nothing. We have to gain some benefits before we go back. My lord, I don't think this is a good idea, Guojia said with a bow. Why? Yi Chen asked after a slight pause. My lord, it's not time yet. Once you flatten Wuhuan Mountain, your name will be known all over the world. If you destroy Xianbei, His Majesty will be afraid of you. It's not a lie to say that one's merits will shock the Lord, Guojia said with a sigh. Yi Chen frowned when he heard this. Yi Chen had never considered Guojia's idea of overshadowing the emperor. Now that Guojia had brought it up, Yi Chen naturally couldn't ignore it. Just as Guojia had said, it was a taboo in this era, especially when the Han dynasty was still around and Lu Hong was still alive. Although Lu Hong was muddle-headed, he would not allow a military general to exist that was beyond his control. At least in his view, only a general that he could control was a good general, a good subject. Of course, in reality, his control was limited to Luoyang and the surrounding cities. Further away, almost all of them were paying lip service. There were officials who were truly loyal to Lu Hong, but there were not many of them. Thinking of this, Yi Chen fell silent for a moment, then said in a deep voice, Thank you for your reminder, Feng Xiao. The northern expedition will end at Wuhuan. Once we flatten Wuhuan, we will return. With Xianbei, we will have an excuse in the future. Yi Chen fell silent when he said this. What he said next involved the future of history, so Yi Chen naturally wouldn't say it out loud. For example, Dongzhu's rebellion, Cao Cao holding the emperor hostage to order his vassals. Yi Chen could use Xianbei as an excuse to not obey those false orders and use it to shut the mouths of the world. Guojia was stunned when he heard this, then he smiled and said, My lord, you have a good strategy. Clearly, Guojia had seen through Yi Chen's plan. Although it wasn't completely correct, the result was the same. Yi Chen glanced at Guojia and raised his eyebrows, then said, Feng Xiao, are you confident that you can ascend with me within 10 years? I'm confident. Guojia nodded affirmatively and said. The 10 years that Yi Chen mentioned was actually Guojia's time of life and death. Guojia knew this, and he also knew that Yi Chen was thinking for him. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't moved. However, Guojia knew that it was better to express his loyalty and gratitude through actions than through words. My lord, is there a way to ascend? Zhao Yun asked as he looked at Yi Chen in shock. Just as Guojia had said, ascension had existed in the past. However, the path to ascension had been cut off a long time ago. Not many people knew about this, but the top existences knew about it. Zhao Yun obviously knew about this as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have looked so shocked when he heard Yi Chen mention ascension. Zilong, it's not that there is a way, it's definitely possible. Not only you, but even the people of Samsara will ascend with me. No matter if they are old, young, or ordinary people without any strength, as long as they are people of Samsara, they can ascend with me, Yi Chen said with a laugh. Zhao Yun's eyes widened when he heard this, then he said in shock, "My lord, could it be, could it be? Ha, Zilong, you still haven't found out what level of village creation token the lord used to build Samsara city?" Guojiao laughed and asked. "What level?" Zhao Yun was stunned, then he said in shock, "A level of village creation token? It's a village creation token. How can that be? Isn't that a legendary item? How? Zhao Yun looked at Yi Chen and said respectfully, "It's my great fortune to be able to follow you, my lord. Thank you for taking me in. Zilong, don't say such things in the future. You and I are one family. Why do you have to say such things?" Yi Chen glared at Zhao Yun and shouted, "Yes, my lord." Zhao Yun's heart suddenly warmed and he said excitedly. Zhao Yun just finished speaking when he suddenly thought of something. He looked at Yi Chen and opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. Yi Chen saw Zhao Yun's hesitation and couldn't help but be stunned, then he said, "Zilong, if you have something to say, just say it. I don't have so many taboos here." When Zhao Yun heard this, he immediately let out a sigh of relief. "My lord, Yun has a master named Tong Yuan. He is a famous martial artist. Please allow my master to settle down in Samsara city." Yi Chen was stunned when Zhao Yun finished speaking. Tong Yuan, damn, he was an awesome person in the Three Kingdoms period. To be able to teach a disciple like Zhao Yun, he was no ordinary person, but he didn't seem to like being an official, otherwise the history of the Three Kingdoms would be changed beyond recognition by Tong Yuan. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, Zhao Yun spoke again. "My lord, my master doesn't like fame and fortune. He only cares about martial arts. However, Yun is willing to try my best to persuade my master to serve you, but," when Zhao Yun said this, his expression became a bit awkward. Yi Chen's eyes lit up. How could Yi Chen not see why Zhao Yun was troubled? It was because Tong Yuan didn't like to be a general, and he didn't like to lead troops into battle. "It's okay. When the time comes, your master will teach the reincarnation soldiers how to use the spear. Zilong, what do you think?" Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun and asked with shining eyes, "You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.